All right. And we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast, episode number 53. And it's another glorious Sunday, and we are back at the round table on the Lord's Day. Welcome. We got a very special guest. White House, somebody got their volume in the back. White House meetings against gaming. ESRB stands for Lootboxes. Horizon Zero Dawn, and a ton of PlayStation news, Xbox rumors, and Fortnite versus PUBG to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who is by far one of the most hilarious follows on Twitter. Although his undeniable passion for the PlayStation brand may rub some the wrong way, this Lord always keeps it gaming, is a multi-platform system owner, and is never afraid to talk about subjects that are most important to the culture. Introducing the member of the PlayStation Brah-Cast and one of the funniest online personas in the game. The Lord of Trolling, most responsible for getting gamers to stay in their feelings, and yet one of the most charitable lords in the entire community. Making his debut into the realm of the lords, my man, Lord Kratos, aka JW. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks for that exquisite introduction.
You already know.
Hey everybody, it's your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation and all things gaming. Man, this here was a day in the making. Today is one of the greatest days ever. I get to chop it up with all my dudes. All the lords on this show. So, man, let's have a fire show.
Absolutely, man. Absolute pleasure. Huge fan of what you do. We chopped it up a bunch of times, I believe, on Brap as well. And I said, I got to get Lord Kratos on the show.
Definitely.
We're going to have some fun today. You already know. And, of course, we have the four horsemen of gaming, those usual suspects at the round table. I believe my co-host with the co-most will be joining in progress from that new job. But we still have the most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Lord of Receipts, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati, my man, Lord Sovereign. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Great to be here, man. Feeling fantastic despite the voice, the Lord of the Froggy voice today. But,
he said Lord Froggy.
Yeah, bringing the sexy back, so forgive my sexy voice today.
No doubt, man. We got to have you back in just in a good capacity, whatever it is. As long as we got you.
As long as I'm standing, right?
Exactly. And of course, we have the excess gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord of Combat Sports, who is a man of his convictions, demands nothing less than the premium experience, and is the Tiki Torch Extinguisher.
Oh,
Beloved Lord King, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Shout out to the hollow, man. We see your heart beeping in your chest, little mustard seed baby heart. Yo,
who are you referring to, Lord King?
I want to shout out to the multiverse. You some real dudes, and I like you dudes. You dudes know that. And you dudes like me. Don't let the fraud of a boss that you got try to turn you away from the God. You understand? So when you see me and you see him, you know we different. We ain't the same thing. You know it's fraudulent. If I call you out, I'm coming for you. I didn't call none of you guys out. Y'all jumped up because your boss' legs was weak. His knees was broke. That's a dude that didn't want none of this smoke. He threw a rock and hit his hands. And when I woke up, like, why are you tugging at Superman's cape? And I looked at him in the eyes and I burned his soul. You know what he did? He put y'all up. He propped y'all up. So I do apologize that y'all had to catch any smoke yesterday. But when I'm swinging, I don't care who I'm punching. All right? So I want you to understand. Y'all step back. Y'all stand down. Y'all sit down in the corner and let your man take the heat. But he ain't going to take the heat. He does that stuff. So watch Hollow Man very closely. But we're going to talk about Kings last night.
What's going on with combat sports?
That fight game last night.
Let's go.
Man, oh man. All right. I want to say, Andre Durrell, please. Oh, shout out to Ego Boxing and shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation. I message you guys. Y'all know we conversate back and forth.
That's what's up.
Andre Durrell, please retire from boxing. Your heart is not in it. You walking out here like Hollow Man, hoping that you're gonna catch a win, and when the heat gets on, you fold like a deck of cards. And they shuffled you.
He said whatever you told him about that fight was crazy. So yeah.
Yes. They shuffled Andre Durrell and they put him in his pocket. We're gonna start off with Tomato Can Boxing first, and that was on HBO. Now, Al Heyman messes with Showtime, and he's a promoter, right? And he puts together fights. He's a matchmaker. He puts together fights that are incredible. Then you have the matchmaker over at HBO who puts together washed up tomato cans versus decent fighters to prop them up to get you food. And when those decent fighters fight anybody of substance, they fold like a deck of cards, like your man Hollow Man. All right. So what you have to understand is what you saw on HBO was a propped up, staged up show where the challengers really didn't have a chance to win. Brev versus what was that kid name? He was just a washed up kid. It was a
tomato can section.
Yeah, it wasn't right. All right, and Kovalev, the racist, he did what he was supposed to do
last week.
Huh? Yeah, he's an open racist. I mean, he wears the monkey hat shirts, and he disrespects black people and stuff like that. He had a black trainer, and he disrespected him in a manner. I don't call anybody racist without saying it to be true, but he has tendencies, and this is upbringing. It's fine. He got humbled by the god Andre Ward, but he won yesterday, and those cards had no substance. There was no spark. Nobody really cared. But when you took yourself over to Showtime. And you had Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, the champion, the WBC champion, the USA champion, versus Louis King Kong Ortiz. Listen, I said Louis King Kong Ortiz. So if you're talking about you got your nickname is King Kong, you bringing fire to the pot.
Exactly.
You had a fight where either man could win. It was a pick'em. And it boiled down to substance, who you were inside, because you were going to get tested in this fight.
Got tested.
Right.
Got tested. Okay.
So when I tell you boxing is 90% mental and then 10% physical, all you have to do is train for that 10%. But while you're training your body to that 10%, you're training your mind that 90%. You're visualizing, you're speaking it, and you're putting it into existence. Yesterday, Deontay Wilder was in the midst of fighting King Kong, Louis Ortiz. And I got to say King Kong, because King Kong came to smash. Yeah. Deontay Wilder caught Louis Ortiz first with a straight right hand and a left hook that had put him to the ropes and put him down. Okay. And you said, it's on now. But like a true king, Louis Ortiz got up and proceeded to put mitts upon Deontay Wilder. And when I'm telling you he put mitts upon this man, he put mitts on this man that those shots that he was getting hit with would have dropped any heavyweight today.
Anybody.
Okay.
This man, conviction in who he is and what he knows would not allow his knees to touch that canvas.
Okay. So he bit that bottom lip down and he got busy.
I told my daughter, because my daughter was watching with me, I told my daughter, I said, look at his eyes, baby. She said, what, Daddy? I said, his eyes never wavered. I said, his eyes was alert the whole time. He was watching Louis Ortiz as Louis Ortiz was trying to tee off on him. And every time Louis Ortiz hit him, he said to himself, I got you now. It was shades of Evander Holyfield Riddick Bowe round 10.
Classic. Yeah, I remember that. That was a classic.
Classic.
Yeah,
this boy, Deontay Wilder. And I told my daughter, I said, baby, I said, Louis Ortiz just gave you the old man shuffle. She said, what's that? I said, look at his shoulders. When a boxer jerks his shoulders up and down, it's because he's taking a second thought in his head and he's breathing and he can't believe what's going on there. I said, that man is finished and he's a beaten man now. Watch. Deontay knock him out.
Shift. Gotcha.
Yes. Deontay's mental was so strong. When he started to connect on Luis Ortiz, his knees touched that canvas. He went down. He was a broken man because he hoped to win that fight. He thought he can win that fight. Deontay Wilder knew he would win that fight.
Got you. So it's all about that mental game, that conviction. You know what I'm saying? And when you get tested in that deep water, who is going to dig deeper?
Drowned that man.
I mean, I tell you this, I'm not the biggest Deontay Wilder fan because, you know, I like the technical fighters, and he's kind of disgusting to watch.
He's not technical at all. He's not a purist in that film. No.
Right. But I have to appreciate the fact that, like, in the heavyweight division, one punch could change the course of everything. Absolutely. And then too, like, the man's heart, the man's determination, like his fight IQ is not the best, but it's like King said, like his ability to just be like, no matter what, I'm winning. And it may look disgusting, but at the same time, like, I gotta give it to him. Like, the man's heart is unparalleled. Really.
Absolutely. Sometimes that's what it is.
Those shots would have dropped anybody.
Got you. So what's going on in UFC last night, sir?
So UFC last night, I missed most of it. I was telling you guys before we got on. I went to see Black Panther again with my niece.
Jay Fonzarelli was good. Sorry, man.
That was slash date night as well. So I missed a lot of it, but I was able to catch the last two fights on the pay-per-view card, which is Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega. Edgar and Cog knows this. Like, we're big Edgar fans. We're big Frankie Edgar fans.
Hurt me, man. Hurt me.
The kid is gonna go down as one of the best to ever do it. One of the most technically sound fighters we've seen in this entire generation. Man willing to fight anybody, and most of the time guys that are bigger than him and stronger than him. And he went in there against a young guy, Brian Ortega, who is considerably longer than him. This is a guy that kind of in length reminds me of John Jones, where he can use his elbows like their jabs and like their punches.
Yeah, it's very similar with the elbow game. Yeah.
And if there's one thing about Frankie that's a kind of deficient in him, is the fact that he doesn't know when to run away.
He ain't got that bone in him.
He got too much dog in him.
Yeah, he'll stay there.
Too much.
Ortega, he'll go toe to toe when he should just kind of grapple and you know, hold on, and that's what happened. Like, Ortega caught him with a left elbow that looked like a straight punch. He just caught him flush with it. And then he managed to kind of get Frankie in kind of like a Muay Thai grip, and he kept them close, and he finally was able to rattle off an uppercut that sent Frankie down, and that was that. Like, that was that. The first time in his career that he's been
ever Frankie's been finished. Frankie's never
been finished.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was.
It was like changing the guard, right? So how you felt? Like, I felt it was like a little.
It definitely was, because Ortega's a special talent, and Frankie again, and that's not to say Frankie can't come back next time and whip on somebody, because he still has it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think his ability to fight guys that are bigger than him, stronger than him, that have physical attributes that kind of put him at a disadvantage. I don't think he has it. You know, he's just getting older. You know what I mean? He's a young guy who's kind of an old fighter.
I agree. Completely.
And then we have the main event. We had Chris Cyborg versus Kunitsaya, and that Kunitsaya is a Jackson Winklejohn fighter. So, you know, did she come in at the last minute, or was this a mandatory?
I think it was a mandatory. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a mandatory, because they've been talking about it for a minute, but it's like, I'm gonna let you continue.
Yeah, I mean, she's a young fighter. Coming in, at the very least, she had the kind of the 2020 vision of Holly Holm's fight, kind of to see where Holly went wrong in fighting Cyborg. And you know, Jackson, Winklejohn, these guys are like geniuses in the ring when it comes to like strategy and tactics.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely that camp.
So her going in, she was a considerable underdog. And to be honest, she wasn't ready for Cyborg's power at all. It didn't seem like she had any sort of head movement or anything like that. And she got caught with a lot of Cyborg's punches. But at the same time, like, at the same time, she was game to try to take her down, and it seemed like at least physically, like in terms of power, she could almost kind of, in terms of grappling and like holding Cyborg up against the octagon, it seemed like she was willing and able to sort of do that for a little bit. But as soon as Cyborg created distance, she let those hands go, and it was a wrap. Like she was completely overmatched, and it was over before the end of the first round. So
yeah, she got blitzed.
She got blitzed.
You painted that real nice. You painted that real nice.
Oh no, she was game. She was game, but she got smoked. She was game, but she got smoked.
Shout out to her for trying. So I know what they talked about after was I know Dana was talking about
her fighting men. I'm fighting man, because I'm telling you, unless it's a man fighting her, you ain't giving that woman a challenge.
Talk about letting her, I believe, move up, because I believe, Saf, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Nunes bigger than her, than Cyborg? Because Nunes is the one that knocked out Ronda Rousey, and they talking about now Nunes versus Cyborg now.
To me, that's the fight.
That's the fight to make. Because Nunes, she's strong and she can box.
Yeah.
We seen what she did to Ronnie.
That's cute, you know? But unless you are a man, you are not gonna beat this woman.
I am done.
If anybody has a chance to make it a fight, it's Nunes.
It's Conor McGregor. I'm telling you right now, that's his comeback fight, Conor versus Cyborg. Because that girl is on a tear. She the real beast. She the real beast over there.
She's an animal. So that was Combat Sports Recap. And of course, it is Lord Cognito here. We're going to spread that gaming realness on the ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So before we get into what the Lords are playing this week, I want to start off with Lord Kratos. His video game system history, his passion for the God of War series, and of course, what led him to joining that amazing PlayStation Brah-Cast. So Lord Kratos, let's start from the beginning. Let's get some OG status talk going on. What was like your first video game system?
The Atari 2600, man.
Woo!
To tell you the truth,
there we go.
I still have every system I've ever owned. I still have it to this day.
Nice.
Wow.
So yeah, so
like,
I'm a retro.
like a Lord. That's Lord talk right there.
I'm trying to build this little museum. That sounds great, bro.
I'm gonna tell you this: everything from Atari 2600, the Odyssey. Now keep in mind, I got my gaming stuff from my older brother, and you know he was much older than me, so it was just by chance, you know, I had everything. So yeah, man, I've been gaming, you know, since the early 80s, since since there was one button on a controller. You know, so you know. Yeah, so that's what it is, man. From Atari 2600 to the NES to TurboGrafx 16, Neo Geo, all that stuff going. The 3DO, I mean, just all the way to the Dreamcast. Now, I'll tell you guys this, man. If there's one system that I think I shed a tear when they finally closed them doors, man, was Sega with the Dreamcast. That system was ahead of its time. And we have to, give that system the shout out because it did any and everything first, from bringing us the high visual fidelity graphics. I mean, the whole online play. Yes. Broadband, just everything ahead of its time. It was just absolutely just too bad that didn't work out, but it kind of paved the way for for all the stuff to follow. But yeah, so that's my gaming history, man. Obviously I'm on the majority of the time I'm on the PlayStation because that's where the bulk of the games are. I have the X, I have the Switch, and I game on PC too. So
Kratos, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Your PlayStation 2, do you have a camp out story? Did you camp out for that PlayStation 2?
I do, and let me tell you. So I'm in college, right? At this time, I'm in college. This joint about to drop at $299. Back in the day, now if you're in college trying to save $299, you didn't eat, quite a few weeks. You know what I'm saying?
That was a ramen noodle kind of situation.
Exactly. So that's why to this day I still got the original box, the original system, everything. So I can tell my kids, you see that system over there?
Had to work for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's passion right there. But yeah, man, it's camped out at Best Buy overnight. We showed up like freaking, like 3:30 in the afternoon, and all the way to overnight till they opened them doors at 10 o'clock. And they gave us a ticket to stand in line or whatever. And some people just came, then they just left. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll come back later." Man, them dudes did not get any. So that was the pinnacle right there of me standing outside in line, just fellowshipping with gamers. And now we got social media and YouTube and stuff like that. We can do that online. But PS2 paved the way too for where we are now, man.
Absolutely. I gotta ask you a question because when you talk about the PlayStation and like how everybody was camping out and how hard it was to get, it was such a hot item at the time, right? Yeah. And then like I'm also thinking back now when you said that, you was like how expensive it was when we had to save. But then in your history, you got Neo Geo, so you was doing some real saving.
True. Now keep in mind though. I did save because of my older brother, right?
Okay.
So at this time he has a job, he's working, so he's able to do that. So it was just by chance that I grew up like that until I got older and got able to buy my own stuff. But
because I was like, those cartridges, what the system like?
That was $200 per game, per cartridge.
And the cartridges were as like big as an Oxford dictionary.
Keep in mind though, this was the same home unit that everything was pretty much the same that was in arcade.
Facts.
So
continue. Because I was gonna say was just that it kind of Neo Geo was kind of the first true arcade system. What you played in the arcade was exactly the same what you played at home.
And a lot of people don't know there was a memory card where you could save it at home and go to the arcade with your quarters, pop them in, and have all your saves and everything there, and just play it with your friends.
The memory unit cost $75.
Exactly. So we have to give. These older consoles, we have to give them props because they paved the way. It's not like we just woke up one day and the Xbox 360 was there with the slap-on hard drive and the Wi-Fi card and all that stuff. Oh man, we had to go through some things. And a lot of you guys, I don't know, how old most of you guys are, but you remember the first online gaming was with the Sega Genesis, with the Sega channel.
The Sega,
you pop in that cart.
Yes,
you screw in your little cable. You get to select the game. Wait about 3 minutes for it to download. People don't remember that, man.
Shout out to Showtime because I used to play Showtime all the time.
For real.
What was it? Y'all taking me back? Because was it I think it was wasn't it called X Band or was that
X Band?
You put your little your little 33.6 modem, cable inside your AOL dial-up. You wait for that cringling sound.
And nobody could use the phone in the house because it was kind of like aliens is on the line.
It takes design. Then you be mad. You be in a game, right? And then somebody call and it disconnects you. You be like, man, why did grandma call?
I know, right? That was late night gaming at its finest.
With the OG status, I respect that. One last question about the systems because we all OGs here, so it's good to actually talk to someone that understands our language.
Definitely.
As far as now, you said TurboGrafx 16, which I was very impressed as well. You know what I'm saying? So did you go all out? Did you have like the base? Did you do Turbo Express, or did you do the CD? Or you kept all basic?
No. So I did the base. I didn't have the CD, and that was very short lived. So I'm glad I didn't do that. But my prize collection, and every now and then I'll post some of my prize possessions and stuff, is an official TurboGrafx 16 Street Fighter 2, brand new in the sleeve, everything. That's like the most iconic. Because most people remember Street Fighter 2 from the SNES, Super Nintendo. No, it was before that. Most people don't realize that. But the TurboGrafx 16, man, it had better color, better graphics, everything on it was higher end, but it cost so much at the time. It was another expensive console where the NES you know, and the Super NES and stuff like that, they would be like what the PlayStation and the Xbox is today. They would be on those comfort levels. But you're always going to have that system that's out there like $800.
Oh yeah, you know it, man. You taking me back, man, because I remember that system too. And everything got shout out to Lord King, man. If it wasn't for him balling us broke people, wouldn't be able to get a chance to see none of these systems. So shout out to Lord King, man.
Shout out to King and the Wiz.
And the Wiz, you know what I'm saying?
To go to the Wiz every day.
Every day.
Kratos,
Yo,
did you get a chance to play the Turbo Express? A lot of people don't understand.
I played
true
it.
gaming on the go.
I played it, but I never owned it. Now, keep in mind, this thing at its time was better than the Sega Game Gear.
Yes.
As far as fidelity to graphics and being able to take your cartridge from the TurboGrafx, pop that puppy in.
You mean the Nomad? You mean the Nomad, not the Game Gear? You mean the Nomad?
No. He's talking about the Game Gear was first, right? And it kind of had like,
the Game Gear was akin.
Yeah,
right. When he's talking about taking that cartridge on the go, that was a Nomad.
Yes.
That came way late. The Nomad came like after Genesis Hey.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Right. So I guess you're right in that instance, because with the Game Gear, you had to get specialized games for the Game Gear. You couldn't take so the Nomad came later. Yeah, you're right on that. So correct on that. But yeah, you can pop your game in here. Go walk out there. Now you know those AA batteries only last.
Yeah, the battery life was like an hour and a half. But
back then, you know, brother couldn't afford batteries like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was stuck on that wall. You can only get them off-brand batteries, you know, with like
Radio Shack
50-pack. Yeah, them things that go by every 30 minutes. So trust me, man.
You just took me way back.
You took me back, man. Before I forget, because even with your Turbo story, you took me back. Because again, people like Lord Kratos said, that was the first arcade perfect fighting street. You know what I'm saying? It was Fighting Street, and it was, you know, when you beat the man, it was many like you, but remember that? You beat him, and that's they had the bad audio with the busted face. But yeah, man, good stories, man. The Turbo, oh man, all those portables. Oh man, shout out to I believe it was somebody from Bungie just put something that brought something back for me as far as Atari Lynx. Remember that?
I remember that.
Yes.
And
you remember when we got that?
Yeah.
You know what? You're starting to become my favorite person because you still have all these systems, man. How was you able? See, because I'm moving all around and stuff like that, so I'm trying to acquire all my stuff back. I still got my Neo Geo and stuff like that. But how did you hold on to that stuff? You had a very good mom that held you down, right? While you
I did. Now keep in mind like this. So my gaming, remember I told you in the beginning, it was all about my brother, my big brother.
Right.
The big bro.
So throughout the years, man, I had these plastic bins, and I would always play my stuff. And when I'm done, take it, put it in the bin, seal it up. I'm good to go. So these things just kind of been in the closet for so many years, and I'll pull them out every so often. Even now, I'll pull them out once, every now and then, plug them up, have the kids take a look, and kind of get to know where gaming come from. Because right now they're kind of spoiled on the Switch and the PlayStation and the Xbox and stuff like that. They don't realize the origin and how we get that. So my little son, he's 8 years old. I went ahead and hooked up the Atari, and I was playing it. He was like, "What is that?" And I said, "Yeah, son, this is the OG game. And this is what we did." He was like, "But it only has one button." Like he doesn't understand that concept, right? So he's looking at me and at the system like a dinosaur. He was like, "Man, them graphics," and I get it. Like looking at it today, it might give you a headache. You go to 4K to like 2-bit. It's a big no. But it gives you that history, and it kind of solidifies what your experience like. All you got to do is pull out one of those systems, and it brings back years and years of where you were and what you did at that time.
What you were doing.
Exactly.
Remember where you was, what point in your life. You nailed it, right?
Yep.
You nailed it, man.
So that's how I am with that vet track.
It's a sentimental value to that because this is your childhood. This is all this stuff is wrapped up. Your childhood is wrapped up in that. You see what I'm saying?
No doubt. So we did the lineage, which is definitely certified. Lord Kratos is certified out here in these gaming streets. So as far as now, we know you are Lord Kratos. So let's start with that passion for the God of War franchise, the persona that you've taken on.
Well, okay. So I'm gonna tell you guys this, right? I've always liked God of War. That's just kind of been my thing. But I'm gonna tell you the moment, the date, and the time that I took on that persona. E3 2016. The orchestra's playing. They're playing it. Some tune hit my ear, and I was like, this sounds familiar. Screen is black. Then you slowly hear you hear little Atreus walk up and he's talking. And then when Kratos came out of the shadows and you can see a piece of his beard, it was over. It was a wrap. That just solidified God of War to me. And that's when I became Kratos. That whole thing, how they set it up and how they played it, was the definitive addition of why I love this franchise.
You know what did it for me, Lord Kratos?
What was going on?
Boy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. When he came out of there, and it was like, oh shit. they did it, man. And that's I still go back from time to time and watch that particular E3 because that E3 kind of started the whole trend, and then they finished it off with a fire PSX, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you guys this. Yes, I'm a PlayStation centric guy, and now hey, I'm Kratos. I can't, ain't no denying that.
You're running from it.
But at the end of the day, that did it for me the same way. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. Back when the 360, when they first shown the Xbox 360, and they showed Gears of War, and you see that 20-story creature up there. That's something that we never ever seen before in gaming. So that there solidified me on the Xbox 360. So there's particular moments in gaming that will solidify you for something, and that's just kind of how gaming is and how it goes.
Thanks, man. You taking it there? Absolutely, man. Those are classic moments. You remember what it was, where you was, how you felt when you saw it.
That is beautiful that he understood that at that point right there. When he saw that, he said, "This is the exact point where this persona resonated with me." Yeah. See, that's true man stuff. Hollow Man, you cannot understand that because you stand for nothing, you flag bearer.
Oh my god, that battle's never gonna stop. Of course. Look, great.
Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second.
So, you step away for a second. But I hear what you said, man. Like those are like amazing moments, man. You never forget. I know for me personally, like God of War wasn't. I didn't really grow up. I came up to the series late. I think actually, correct me if I'm wrong. So didn't Vita do like a compilation or had some of the older ones, or did they have a separate one?
I think the PSP had two portable ones, and I think they were they remastered them for PS4. I think they're playable on Vita. I believe they are. Okay. Yeah, so I think that.
And I think Vita didn't have its own specific version as well. Like, didn't they have like a spin-off, like kind of original?
No, not Vita. They didn't. By that time, Sony wasn't investing any real first-party stuff in the Vita like that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I meant to say was it PSP then? Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm confused.
It was PSP.
That's what it was. Now, did PSP had the compilation God of War, or did they have a separate spin-off one-off for PSP?
They had two separate ones for PSP that were then remastered and put onto PS3/4, I believe.
So the God of War 3 was the remaster that they brought to PS4.
Right.
And then you had the Chain of Olympus and the Ghost of Sparta that was on the PSP. Now I was kind of upset because they never made one for the Vita. Right? Yeah, so that's and that Vita, that's a whole different story, man.
Yeah, it's one of my best times. So I sleep right next to it, so it's right next to me. And every once in a while, I'll pop it in and play some stuff on it. Well, what's funny was that PSP Go. I got roped into that crap.
The digital with all the digital,
complete digital. I mean, it's great when you jailbreak it. It's fantastic.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but you don't jailbreak that sucker. Yeah, once Sony said we're taking it offline, I said, man, that's when I first realized that a company really don't care about you.
My God.
No, seriously.
I agree.
Listen, like a lot of times people play Madden and they play Madden years after that game is gone. They're on to other Maddens, and EA keep those servers open, and then they tell them after a couple of years, yo, bro, please upgrade. We're gonna shut down the servers at a certain date. Sony didn't do that. What Sony did was they just shut it on. They just shut it. You went to log on and there was nothing. So if it wasn't jailbroken, you weren't able to have access to anything or content that you have purchased with that Go. Now, of course, through the PlayStation Network, you still had content there, but those games that were specific to that PSP Go, no, it was not a Go. It was a stop.
Let me ask you guys this. How long after the end of life of system should they continue to support it?
Oh, wait, before we get it, I want to save that. It's a great question. I want to save that because we're going to get into that with a topic later as far as PlayStation. So definitely save that question. Okay. Bring it back, though, because that's a great question, Lord Kratos. Yeah. One last thing with you in reference to your history and everything. Now, I know you've created that persona, and then I've noticed that you were on my boy, the PlayStation Brah-Cast. How did that start? How did you get it linked up with those dudes?
You know what? One day, Bra hit me up or whatever, and we were just kind of talking in the DMs and stuff like that, and I kind of always kind of obviously he's a PlayStation centric guy, and he'd always post stuff, so I would always like and retweet and stuff like that. So we just kind of got together in the DMs, and I ended up on his show, and then I did an interview of him on my channel. So that's just kind of how we worked out. And, if you notice, I really don't push my own channel or anything because I just really don't have time like that. Yeah. If I can show up, I will. And if not, then I can't. So I'm a firm believer. If I can't dedicate myself 100% to something, then I'm not going to do that because I don't want to just put out, crappy content or some here and then not there. So, I'm just featured on a lot of people's, channels and stuff like that. So we just, just been chopping it up ever since, man. Since.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I checked you out over there. I was like, oh, he's down with the bro. I like the bro. He's hilarious, man. Real fun. Oh, shout out. Anchorman in chat going so hard right now for you.
Hollow Man is hollow. Where was he yesterday when he was popping? You took the Superman cape and you got stomped in your chest. Sit yourself down with your mustard seed heart and be quiet. Let real men stand up and do this. Stop trying to instigate something. Real men recognize real. We understand when we talk, our vernacular resonates with each other. When you talk, it bounces off. We don't hear that. We don't understand what you're talking about. You're hollow. Sit there with the hollow people, keyboard warriors. Sit back and relax and let us talk, man. We do this thing over here. Relax. You can't even. The funny part is, everything that he said about his gaming history and games in general resonated between all these people in this podcast. Absolutely. You missed it. It went over your head because you don't resonate with the real. You are hollow. You understand what hollow means? It means you have nothing inside of you. You are hollow. So you need to really stop and just watch. I understand you want to have stuff inside. You want to be a real boy. You're not. Just watch us do what we do and just try to live vicariously through us. You too can expire, but you ain't gonna never fill yourself up because you hollow.
Shout out to Lord Anchorman and this. But we're gonna finish off with Kratos and the last.
I call him Anchorman. His name is Hollow Man.
I'm done. So last question for Kratos is this is a tough one. I want to put you on the spot.
All right, let's do it.
Top 5 gaming franchises of all time. I already know what one of them should be.
Yeah, top 5 gaming franchises. Okay. You already know God of War. I mean, that's solidified. The Last of Us. Yeah, that there, man, is
changing life right there. That's touching.
Yeah, The Last of Us, I don't even have to say anymore. It's just already done. Halo.
Wow.
Yeah. Most people
didn't see that coming.
Listen. Okay, I gotta. I mean, that's what that is, right? Like that's legendary. That put the whole thing on the map. So you got to give shout out to that. Let's see. Gran Turismo. Most people know. I'm a racing that, right? So I'm into it for the cars and everything. So I'm a gearhead. That solidified that. And man,
good series, man.
One more. Yeah,
any generation.
Man, it's gonna be any generation, man.
Franchise that touched you.
Jeez. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with the 2K series.
Now we going 2K. Football or we going basketball?
It's just the 2K series, however you want to see it. Because I mean, you got both, right? The NBA 2K, the first 2K was the first thing that kind of put it on the map with the freestyle controls and stuff that we can do, the graphics, stuff like that. And then NFL 2K also put it on the map. I mean, Sega. I mean, that's just solidified in history. We all know right now we're begging for either EA to go out of business or for the NFL license to go away so we can have the definitive football game that we know can be created. We know that. We know that.
How he kicked 2K baseball to the side, right?
Okay, we can admit that. They tried.
Shout out to them. No, the absolutely fantastic franchises you named. So we're going to get now into what the Lords are playing specifically this week. Now, Lord Kratos, our guest, were you touching VR? What else have you been touching this week as far as games?
Okay, well, I've been on that Switch. They've been dropping some games, man, left and right. I mean, at least 3 times a week they're dropping some games. So I picked up the Payday 2. Got that. Obviously, I got what's the game? The Bayonetta.
Oh, yeah, the Bayonetta.
So I ended up getting the physical of that. So in total, I have over 150 games right now for the Switch.
How big is that memory card you got rocking over there, Lord Kratos?
So I got a 400 gig memory card, brother.
You was prepared for Grandpa's Nintendo's memory issue.
You know why I can see why they started that rumor that me and him is the same person? I can see why the rumor is popping around.
Y'all literally the same person because y'all go so big. Like y'all go extra. Like when y'all go in, y'all go in.
Because I told them when I had 19 terabytes for my Xbox, they was like, "What the hell, 19 terabytes? What you got that for?" Just like that.
It's future proof, baby. Future proof.
There we go.
That's cool this week. You've been playing. That's what's up. Lord Sav, what's been going on this week? What you been rocking?
So I finally finished Assassin's Creed Origins. I finished the story there. Yeah, I mean, I love Assassin's Creed, man, but it's something about them, like, there are parts of that story where the exposition is great. Like, there are moments when Bayek assassinates somebody that he really goes deep into them. Because you know that when you assassinate a big person in Assassin's Creed, there's always like a cutscene, and they explain why they were doing what they were doing, the Templars, whatnot. And some of those scenes are really great. But then, like, it seems like once they get to the end of the story, they try to rush everything, and everything feels rushed. Like the resolutions feel rushed. Like, so I was a little disappointed at the end. But overall, man, it's a great Assassin's Creed game. And I don't want one this year. Don't give me another one this year.
Oh, you want a break?
Yeah, please give me a break. Yeah. Let me see. On the Switch, I've been inching forward in that Celeste as always, and playing Bayonetta 1, and I put 2 to the side till I finish 1 again. And it's funny, back on the Xbox One, so I played all the back compat games that came out, the ones with the X enhancements that just came out. Man, like they're doing great work with those games, man. Like Forza Horizon looks like it could have been a launch title for the Xbox One. Like that's how good that game looks.
Like Digital Foundry just did something on it. And they were like, it is so spectacular on the X in 4K. I'm like, are they talking about Forza 1 on Xbox?
Yeah, it looks crazy.
I think the least impressive one is Fable, and Fable still looks fantastic. Like it has some issues they didn't really fix. But Crackdown looks amazing, man. But I tell you this about Crackdown, like going back to it, I started over from the beginning, and I see, like, I can really see the game is still fun, right? It hasn't necessarily aged the greatest. It's still fun, but when I initially said that's all I want from Crackdown 3, I realized that's a lie. Like I need more. I need more. Like I really need more. And not even graphically, like the gameplay. When we saw it and played it at E3, like we saw it hasn't evolved in terms of gameplay. And blowing stuff up is cool, but like even in terms of the animations, they could do so much more with the powers, with like the world. They hadn't done anything at that point. So I really hope this, going back to the drawing board, gives us something different, because I don't want more Crackdown 1. I realize that now.
Okay, it's funny you say that, because I never still really got busy with Crackdown 1. I think when it came out, it was like a promotion if you like reserved or pre-ordered or something. Halo, didn't you get it? Wasn't it some when you did
No, you got the demo disc inside of
you got the Halo 3 beta. You got Halo 3
the beta that was inside there. Yeah.
So I think I do want to just play it just to kind of get me, because again, I'm not really a Crackdown guy as much as I'm an Xbox guy. Like, I haven't really got a chance to play it. So it's interesting you say that. Yeah. So I just want to see what the core foundation was really all about that had everybody kind of hype about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like wanton destruction, fun destruction. Like, but I think I said this before, you know, on the show back in the day. Like, there was something that they initially said about Crackdown that never really came into play with the game, which was like, that you can approach the game any which way you want. Like, right? They had a lot of the bosses were situated at the top of these skyscrapers, right? And you have to go through like this gauntlet to get to them. But if you had the proper powers, at that point, like, you could do crazy stuff like stack cars one on top of the other and make your way up the side of the building and just go straight to the boss. You could do like the world was destructible in such a way where you can have like agency in how you approach things, and that never made it into the game. So something like that would make Crackdown 3 a lot more appealing. So I mean,
so you mean to tell us we're gonna get what they promised from the first Crackdown?
Finally? No, I don't even know we're getting that. I'm sorry. I hope so, but I don't know we're getting that. And real quick, the last thing that I played that I reinstalled, and the Kratos here. I want to talk about this real quick. I reinstalled Ryse, man. Like Ryse.
Let's talk about it.
I hadn't played Ryse in a minute. I said, let me see how it runs on the X. I know there are no enhancements.
We'll talk about it.
But yo, seeing the new God of War and seeing how they've grounded him more and how they've done like the behind the back like perspective, and how it's not as floaty as older God of War games, and looking at Ryse and the gameplay of Ryse. To me, God of War is what I would have wanted Ryse 2 to be.
Facts.
Like, it feels like it. Like, you go back into Ryse. First of all, Ryse is still a beautiful game. Like,
beautiful.
Oh God, gorgeous game.
Remember, they did that on OG Xbox One with the Kinect attached, without the 15%, without the SKU. Shout out to Crytek. That game, for its time as a launch, people can clown it on the CTEs, and I understand that. But from a visual perspective, you cannot deny Ryse. It is amazing looking.
You can't. I mean, if you look at it, like, I felt that the launch of Xbox One was, in terms of games, was better than PS4. Like, Ryse and Rising 3 to me, so yeah, like, playing that, honestly, like, the game, again, like the QTE stuff with the color coded stuff, like it creates a flow to the gameplay that's cool, but it also creates a repetition that gets, you know, kind of boring after a while, because you kind of seen all the animations and whatnot. But like, to me, God of War is what I would have wanted from a second Ryse, and maybe you know, who goes, please give us another Ryse.
No, man.
Keep in mind, guys, that game was designed to be a Kinect game. It was designed to work with the Kinect.
Yeah, and they switched that up.
Last minute, they switched it out.
Good point.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah, but see, you see what I'm saying? If they would have had more time to tailor make this game, or if it wouldn't been built with the Kinect in mind, think how badass that game would have been.
Can we all just have a little bit of thought process on how bad the Kinect brand ruined the Xbox division?
The success of the Kinect ruined the Xbox.
But it was so successful on the 360. We would be saying, why didn't you continue on with that success on the next one? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's give or take.
There's one thing with having something successful and wanting to imply that into your next gen. It's another thing to be like, you got no choice. You accepting this Kinect and you want to like.
Well, you know what it is? I kind of see Lord Kratos' point too, on a standpoint. Like, listen, as much as we couldn't stand it, and they were forcing that stupid TV narrative. The thing about it was, if you look at how successful it was on 360, and it was a peripheral, right? So the way they're looking at it from a business standpoint is like, look, we can't segment the base.
Yeah.
If this thing is so successful, everybody has to have it. So to encourage more development for. So I understood the thought process, but it just was still forced, and it just wasn't.
Sword.
Yeah, it was a double-edged. The gamers did not want it.
We said it at launch, like if they were gonna force it,
give the Addict his intro.
$100.
I got him. Finish up, Solve, and I got him on intro.
Yeah, they were gonna have to eat that $100 if they wanted to really push that narrative, and we ate it exactly.
Yeah, we ate that 500, and every PlayStation was 400.
Do you think the narrative would have been different if it was the same price as the PS4 with the Kinect?
I think it
would have gone to the power thing, because again, once it came out that it was slower because resources were going to the Kinect.
The power was something, but I feel like the biggest point had was the money.
Yeah,
the money, man. You're asking people to pay $100 more. I don't care what it is. You saying, okay, both these new things came out. That's what two new things. One is $100 more. Yeah. Really? What games do they have? They have pretty much the same amount of games. I'm gonna go with the one that is $100 less. Why the hell am I gonna buy that?
And not to mention the $100 price, because in my personal opinion, normally I could say this without having any kind of a backlash, but Kratos is here. But anyway, my personal language, I felt like the Xbox One on launch had better games than the PS4 on launch.
Listen, I agree with that. I agree with that.
It didn't matter what they had in game wise, because let's be real here. You know, they had the same third parties, and Xbox had slightly better first party. Absolutely. And that $100 price came down to it.
I don't care what it is. $100 is $100. I'm sorry.
Listen, I'll tell you that right now is the most powerful console in the world, and yet it costs $500. And I know it's selling, right? We know it's selling, but I've always said that $500 price tag will always be the anchor that keeps it from going more, from keeping it in many homes. Because right now you got the Switch at $299. You can pick up a PlayStation Slim and an Xbox One S for under $200.
Yeah, $185.
Yeah, and then on top of that, right, you can spend $200 on a Slim. You can spend $200 on a VR for $400. That's still cheaper than going with the X. And then you have all these exclusives and everything else. So people, the hardcore gamers, we're gonna buy everything anyway. It doesn't matter how much it costs. But the casuals, the majority of the people will not, and we have to get that in our head. We're not the majority.
I honestly think if it would have been $400 and the Master Chief Collection came out with the Xbox One and backwards compatible was on launch, I think we'd be
that's a different story. Yeah, that's a different story. And
you know what? I think it's a different story if they come out at the same price.
It's nice that backwards compatibility came out, but let's be real here. By the time it came out, the damage was already done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me get you that intro, Lord Addict. My co-host with the co-most, my brother from another mother, the difficult game conqueror, and the how of the young wolf. My man, Lord Addict, how you doing? Back off work.
I like that difficult game conqueror.
You like that?
Like that?
Yeah, you've been working. You've been in these streets.
I see that blood.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That Tomb Raider thing had me tight a little couple times. Like I hate games. Like I like games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls because the game's difficult, but it's designed to be difficult. They don't up the difficulty by making the game unfair.
Oh, okay. So it's getting like.
Just I'll be really sitting there like. I'll be like, dude, like, how am I not? I'm shooting you with an AK to the head, and I just knock off your mask. Like that makes no sense. Like, and then it got to the point where I had better consistency using a bow.
Facts.
Well, they want you to use that bow, to be honest with you. That's how they want you to play it.
And not to mention, like, okay, I'm going to say this. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this next statement.
Here you go.
Like, what I've seen on Uncharted, it really seems like Uncharted is the easier of the two on hard. Like, I haven't played it yet, but there's one big difference I've seen. You can't hit fire and cover. On Tomb Raider, you literally had to come out of cover to shoot.
Oh, okay.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's a significant difference. Frustrating. It's so frustrating because all these people are one-shotting me.
Yeah.
So like I had to literally shoot one. It got to the point where I'm like, I have a better chance at meleeing some of these people. I would literally come out of cover, start hitting them with a knife, knock one down, start hitting the other dude, and hope to God none of them shoot me.
I give you a lot of credit, Lord. I mean, I watched a couple of your streams, man, and I'm like, I'm too old to be going through
Yeah,
this
I ain't got that in me. I ain't got that in me. I look at him. I said, "It's a young man's sport." God bless you. Go get that.
Exactly.
I said, "I ain't got that in me." I'm sorry.
Even shout out to Lord Solve when he was talking about what is it, Celeste last week. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I saw that difficulty thing, Lord Solve, what you talk about
the B sides.
I said, come on, man.
Yo, I got to the point where I got so many games. I'm putting it on casual just to get to the end. I'm being real with you. I'm not sitting here trying to hurt me more, daddy, inside Wolfenstein. No, I'm put it on normal.
Podcast is something completely different now.
No, it's facts. There's too much good stuff out here to be try-harding it too hard. No, the only game I'm try-harding it on is this PUBG. Because in PUBG streets, the smoke is real. I was playing that PUBG all week. Shout out to the squad, Hot Monkey, Monkey Punch, Voltage, Def Singer. Def, that's my dude right there. He for real. Brat, where you at, baby? We in these streets. We like I said, we got that rotation popping. Like there'd be 10 people in the chat, and we like, all right, let's rotate. If somebody lags out, switch. He jump in. It's rotating. You understand? We're getting it done. Shout out to them chicken dinners. They taste great. But when Xbox went down this week, I was on my Switch.
What you play this week? I haven't heard you talk Switch in a minute. What you playing?
I was playing Mario. Yo, the Mario, they got balloons now. I went in there and it was like, yo, we got a free download for you. I said, Nintendo, I love you. I love you, Nintendo. I said, it's free. I didn't have to pay a nickel for this. They was like, nah. Luigi in here with you.
What's going on with, what's a good word I can make fun of Anchorman?
Hollow Man?
Oh yeah. He don't call him by his name because he's saying that.
What's going on with Hollow Man? All right,
was asking for some challenges that we don't know
Addict.
about.
This dude goes on his podcast and was being ambiguous with some weird challenge. Then he comes at me talking about, oh, now you ready for a challenge? I'm like, what the hell are you? What are you talking about?
He said that the ILP and you specifically, King Addict, said we've been ducking and
nobody's ducking this Hollow Man
with the multiverse.
Hold on. First off. Anchorman, I'm gonna have to get you to back up. I gotta see something that you've done anything remotely hard. Where's those Cuphead results? Where's that Bloodborne results? Where's those Dark Souls results?
He don't
got no. He know he's hollow, so he's bringing up games. He's telling him where you at. That's what I'm talking about. Tell him, Addict.
Back there playing Grand Snoopy Adventures don't mean everyone out there.
There we go. Tell him. Come on, Addict. Listen, the world sees you for what you are, Hollow Man. I'm telling you, Hollow Man. You really need to stop. Like what you're doing is you're destroying your fan base because now your friends are looking over at you like, yeah, this nigga is Hollow. My bad on that, but I'm just saying, like, they're looking over and they're seeing you for who you are. The more you talk, the more you let people in.
This gonna have to get ironed out in the future.
Is really be quiet, sit down in the corner, and watch real men do real men things. I'm telling you, Hollow Man, you just exposing yourself day to day.
He said he's in the chat. He said we challenge you to siege and you ducked.
Oh, shut up. I didn't even hear your challenge. It didn't resonate with real men business. I challenged you yesterday, then you claimed that you was on a date. All of a sudden, now I'm on a date. You was tweeting me all day. I said, let's fight. What you said? I'm on a date. Why are you texting me if you're on a date? So that didn't make no sense. Hollow Man. You ran.
We got that. We finished that up with the multiverse at that time. We got to show.
December 11th.
I'm going to break you down, Hollow Man. I'm going to let the world see you.
Hold up. You got to call us out on something that happened on December the 11th of last year.
Clearly this affected them, so we're gonna have to get in the ring with them because clearly they feel we ducking them or something. I don't know, but anyway, so as far as what I've been playing, definitely actually put Kingdom Come Delivered for a little bit, and that XCOM 2 got me, y'all. Oh man, that 4K update. I'm a huge XCOM fan, and War of the Chosen DLC completely changed the game. It's brand new, so much new mechanics. Oh, so much fun. Been enjoying that. And for Switch, it's been actually Wolverblade. I'm close to the last level.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man. It's getting the difficulties picking up. I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm gonna knock that out, get another one down on my Switch backlog. Hopefully by next week that should be done. We're gonna get into this poll results because we got a lot of
hold on. Let me just interrupt you for 10
Oh
seconds.
Lord.
He has like. Did you have this like saved somewhere? Because you knew Multiverse episode 79, 1846. The dude had a time.
Clearly, he's very distraught by this.
This has been saved. This is
but you know what?
We could do this for a rainy day.
We can do this now that everyone's in agreement and everyone hears what's being said because no one heard that. But we can do whatever y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? The Multiverse. It's cool. Whatever.
When we beat you. Well, first off, I want to know who's on your team because
it's him. It's
gotta be Mike
P the Truth. I think Sam. I think our editor has jumped ship. I hear him pom-pomming over there.
No. We have to go by. We have to go by this date if he wants to use this date so much. Who was on that episode? Because that's the only one you can use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Anyway, so last week's poll results.
Oh, you heard his heart, right?
You have spoken. To the question, with the recent results of a possible relationship between Microsoft and Sega of Japan, what do you think is the best course of action for Xbox? The winner at 52% in a fairly competitive three-way ILP poll was the Microsoft should buy Sega entirely group. Coming in at second at 41% was Microsoft should only partner with Sega for select IPs, and coming in far shallow third place at 7% was I don't care unless Shenmue 3 is coming group. So what do the Lords think about this? Lord Kratos, what do you think about this? It's about these Sega supposed Microsoft rumors. Which one did you prefer?
Well, obviously number 2, right? That's the most realistic one. Most people don't realize that American company cannot buy a Japanese company like that. The Sega would never sell to Microsoft. That's so we can kick number 1 out the door, but number 2,
they own by Sammy, I believe. Instead of it's like Sammy owns Sega, something like that. Continue,
so keep in mind, right? It makes sense. You don't want all of the IPs. You just want the ones that's going to make you the most money and the ones that people are asking for. So I say cut a 5-game deal with them, select those IPs, and try to work out a deal and get it and close the deal. I really, unfortunately, I think Microsoft is already working on, they're focusing all their attention on the next gen and not this one here. So I think even if they do with those IPs, it's going to be 2 to 3 years before they come to fruition anyway. Right now, they can cut the deals to get the games that Sega are going to have coming out in the meantime, just to get them on the Xbox platform, because we've seen games like the Kiwami and all these other Capcom and Sega games. All these games are just by default are coming on Sega's on Sony's platform and not necessarily on the Xbox. I don't understand why, but obviously there's a deal that Sony's cutting, whether they cutting the checks or or whatever. It's not on the Xbox, and I think that's a shame. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see. Like I said, we'll see what actually comes of these rumors, if anything. But I thought it was interesting. A lot of the fanboys was out there in these streets. We get the rumor flag going. It was interesting. Yeah. So, all right, we got a lot of show. We got to get into these topics. We were nicely distracted by the multiverse. We got to get into the show.
That's all it is a distraction.
Lord Sovereign. A lot of politics going on in the game, man. What's going on out here in these gaming streets?
All right, so what do you guys want me to talk about first? The ESRB stuff or the Trump gate?
Let's go. Let's start with the White House, and then we'll go to ESRB.
Look, we need to talk more about this Anchorman thing. I'm joking. It's just like King David say, they distraction.
We got a lot of topics.
Yeah, he a bullet sponge. He's just waving his arms outside.
What's going on with the White House?
Well, okay. So in response to the Florida school shootings, right? There's been talk about where there's been a lot of finger pointing, right? And obviously, at some point, the finger was going to get pointed at gaming once again, as it happened years ago, and as it tends to happen when things like this go down. So, I guess last week, President Trump, through his White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee, made a statement indicating that he was meeting this coming week with members of the gaming industry, like CEOs and whatnot, to discuss what can be done to sort of address these issues that they see in gaming. And the funny thing about it is that the ESA and no one else associated with the ESA, no company in gaming, no industry in gaming was aware of this summit that's going on next week, apparently. So,
right.
so
clearly they didn't receive this.
They didn't
This is fake news. The guy's a liar. There ain't none of that stuff.
They didn't receive the memo on this, right? Okay. And I guess and what King says is true. Like, it's one of those things where this is where I stand on it, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that it's getting federal talk time is something that we need to think about for a second, right? Okay, I mentioned this last week, and I talked about like Phil Spencer and his speech about how how changing the culture of gaming is something that it has to be done, but at the same time, I felt like it was a call to arms to sort of look, whatever else is going on wrong with gaming, we need to fix it. We need to address it ourselves before somebody from the outside decides they want to address it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, saying. No commentary on Donald Trump and his politics, but to me, in speaking only about his disposition and the type of person he appears to be, he is someone who will not take lightly to being ignored in this thing. So if he's just shooting from the lip and nothing comes of this, fine. Gaming should just forget about that he ever mentioned it, keep moving forward. If he does move forward with something official where he does actually want to meet with people, I think it's in gaming's best interest to address it. Because the thing about it is, again, there's no real argument there. Like when they bring it to the table, they're not going to have a substantial argument. They're just going to say, "Oh, look what happened here. It has to be because of these influences." It's the same argument that's been going on for years, and nobody has any proof.
The reason why that stuff is like super fake news is because the last time I picked up Call of Duty, it didn't come with an AR-15.
So super fake news.
So the fact that it doesn't come with a gun. I don't care unless your video game comes with a lethal weapon for you to go outside and cause mass destruction. This is fake news. So I mean, you say millions of kids play Call of Duty. How many millions of kids is out here killing? Nobody. So you're talking about the kid that's in some place that, and I'm not even gonna pick a place that's racist because it's stupid, because there's pocket kids all over the world. These kids is other outside influences that's pushing them to this avenue to do these atrocities, and we're not going to use video games as the scapegoat for that conversation. That conversation shouldn't even be talked about. That clown is over there talking mess. Nobody knows what he's talking about. He's another hollow man, but he's a hollow man that's visible. So I'm not giving credence to this other hollow man.
Okay, let's solve it. I want to get low Kratos.
I mean, and that's the truth. Like, again, it's a scapegoat. We're being scapegoated as we were, on multiple occasions in the past. It's the same thing.
Like we're giving out guns over here.
No doubt. Lord Kratos, what did you feel about this first part of what Saul was talking about in reference to the president, the White House, and they're trying to get involved with gaming?
Well, so right now, there's this big talk, and right now the NRA is been bombarded because people pointing fingers at them, calling them a terrorist group, and yada yada yada. They're allowing this stuff. Here's the thing about gaming, right? There are more people who game outside of the United States than it is in America. So, but America seem to be the only place with this problem. So, what is it about America that the outside world, outside of our borders, don't have this problem? And you just have to look at it at one thing, and it's the guns. So people don't want to talk about that, right? They don't want to talk about the guns. It's their amendment, right? Yada, yada. We don't want to alter it. And so it's like, well, we got to do something, because right now kids are screaming, parents are screaming. We got to do something. So the easiest thing we can do is blame it on video game and try to pass a legislation that has something to do with video games, and then we can pat ourselves on the back and say, okay, we've just stopped plenty of guys from going out with AR-15s and killing up everybody, and the problem's done. This is all it is. It's smoke and mirrors.
Gotcha. He feels like
take the conversation off of what really matters and put it on something. It's blame displacement.
Exactly. It's redirection, just complete redirection of where. And so you're not looking at the actual problem.
Yeah.
No, completely understand where you guys are coming from. I mean, again, when I got the news, Losar brought the topic up. Obviously, Little Disgusted Gaming is very near and dear to me, obviously. And shout out to Lord Brat and Kratos. We were actually on a Brat rant, and we actually had this discussion, I believe, in reference to when we got the news initially that they were looking into gaming. And ultimately, at the end of the day, gaming has its place. Obviously, I am biased. This is my platform. We talk, our platform, we talk on gaming, but at the same time, we can't lose sight of what the real issues are, and we know what's going on. Shout out to Lord King as far as, the weapon aspect, and the points that Lord Kratos made, it's just one of those things that, okay, yeah, you can look at it. I know we have an ESRB system with ratings. Things can be improved. I completely get that. I'm not saying gaming is above being looked at. I'm not even going to go there and say it has absolutely no influence. But at the same time, like Lord King said, what's actually going on here is what we kind of need to focus. And I just thought it was quite humorous that the ESA said they didn't get these memos about our president wanting to meet with them in reference to that. But I did get an update. I did hear that that they apparently these memos will be going out. The invites will be going out next week. That's what the House says. So we'll see what happens to that. And if it's legit, and they want to do something legit about it, fine, and we'll see what happens with that. But at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, and shout out to King, shout out to Saul, shout out to Addict, gaming for me is near and dear. It saved my life. It saved a lot of my friends' life. I know Lord King and I and Lord Saul, we can attest, we grew up in the South Bronx, and we could have been doing a lot of other things.
We changed the culture with Halo. Halo changed the culture.
Facts.
Because what you used to see before was drug dealers on the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we did was we took a group of our friends. I mean, I can never say this too much. Shout out to Miss Cognito, Cognito's moms, for allowing us to use their house as our stationing point. Trust me, because nowadays, as a parent, my kids are not bringing 15 Swiss beans up in the car. It's not happening. All right, I'm just going to tell you the truth. But what the influence was we brought peripheral friends in. These peripheral friends went back to the hood and introduced Halo to the hood. It turned into people putting TVs on the corner to play Halo.
Yep. All right, your man cable. Yeah, that's before the days of Xbox Live, baby.
Out of control.
It was dominoes.
and people, groups would, my team against your team. I don't care if they're betting money or whatever it is. It's taken away from whatever they could be doing, and they're going into a positive place to outlet. You understand? So I can't see video games in the same light as other people's talking about travesties, because all I see is positivity coming from the genre I choose to enjoy.
And let me tell you this, Lord King, just to expound on your point, is that was the argument, shout out to Mama Cognito. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, I mean, listen, I had a little apartment. It was like 15 to 20 of us up in there every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, my argument was this, and this is how I won her over. I said, when I was outside on the streets running wild, you didn't like that, right? I wasn't coming home at all type of hours of the night. You didn't like that. I said, I'm upstairs with my friends. You know where I'm at, and you know what I'm doing. Yeah. Why are you going to stop me from that? And that's how I won her over. And she's like, you know what? He's here. Yeah, sometimes they just keep the damn noise down when the damn tournament. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? She knew we was doing something positive and we weren't getting into trouble. And that changed a lot of lives. And, shout out to, even though, a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, Lord Ken, all these people, they told me, like, yo, if it wasn't for them Saturdays, Cognito, and coming in, I was like, you saved my life. I could have been getting into all type of foolishness. And people would tell me, like, yo, I sometimes just need to come over just to get my mind off. Let's just bug out. Let's get some Halo going on. Let's get some Tekken popping, whatever it may be to get you out of that negative influence. So I know I'm biased, but there's nothing no one can tell me about video games. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I know the positive effect it can have. So all this other stuff to me is misdirection and rhetoric. I've said my emotional piece. But everyone else want to jump in before you get to the second part of Lord Soft's topic?
Yeah, I just lost a lot of relationships over Saturday. I know that. They really thought They could not conceive of grown men playing video games from 7 a.m. until 4 o'clock in the morning the next day.
There's gotta be an Iron Lord brothel going on.
That's running there with shirts off and they're serving cognac to these men.
And a couple years goes by. She's like, "Well, I think he was actually telling the truth."
Exactly. What's up? So what's next up? You said you got a ESRB. What's going on, man?
Yeah. So also last week, so Patricia Vance, the head of the ESRB, made an announcement indicating that coming soon, the ESRB was going to add back of the box labeling to kind of alert customers to the fact that the game they're purchasing is going to have in-game purchases, right? Okay, and this is their response to the whole Loot Crate controversy that's been going on the past year or so, right? The problem with it is, and again, this is just my personal opinion, it's too widespread, right? A lot of people's problems with loot crates are specifically with loot crates and nothing more. And just like the predatory nature of what a loot crate can be, right? These blind boxes that, you know, you just keep putting money into and you don't know what you're necessarily getting out, but it preys on people's, you know, that deficiency in people that makes you just want to keep getting more and more and more. So the issue with how the ESRB is handling it is that it's too widespread, it's too all-encompassing, so it doesn't focus on the loot crates. So under the umbrella of this new classification is all DLC.
Oh my God! So basically, you lump something. Everything is a.
If anything, if within the game there is a way to purchase anything. If there is, you know, a DLC, content packs, whatever it may be, including loot crates, it's all under the same umbrella. So it doesn't identify it specifically. So the problem is it's not addressing the problem. It's
a Band-Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
pretty much nothing's getting taken care of now.
Not at all. Not at all. Because it's just another classification. It's going to be another label on the back of a box that people are not looking at and not caring about. And it's not addressing the problem.
Or they might care about it because of that label. It might adversely affect the video game that wouldn't have those problems later on because of that labeling. Because if let's say the parent is aware of that and it says in-game purchasing is available in this game, and you know, the parent looks at the back of the box like, oh, no, we can't do that because, you know, Timmy just ran up he brought some apps off my phone. I had to lock my phone down. I can't let this dude loose in these streets. So maybe that might adversely affect the game, having that label in the back and it's not being specific to what is, you know, purchasable through that game. You know,
that's exactly the argument. A lot of people are arguing that, okay, it's not addressing the specific issue with the stuff that's predatory, right?
Right.
And at the same time, what they're trying to do, it just seems like they're addressing the biggest people politically who are sort of soapboxing about this in order to try to shut them up, right?
Right.
Because they feel that these people, like, you know, they bluster about, they talk about this stuff, and then once something is done, they shut up. They shut up, and the argument goes away, right? So the perception is that that's one thing the ESRB is trying to do with that, right?
Right.
Secondly, it's the fact that in a lot of ways, it seems like loot boxes sort of behoove the gaming industry.
Absolutely.
And the belief is that, especially from the higher ups of companies, that some way, shape, or form these things have to exist in order to create that secondary flow of money. Right. So it's almost like they're trying to protect it by not singling it out.
Well, I mean, let me jump in real quick. No, I mean, let's be honest, right? The ESRB, they're just like self-regulated body started by the ESA. So the ESA is going to work. That's the people, you know, do E3 and all that. They're going to work for the publishers, more for the publishers than they're going to do from the consumer, right? They're going to protect that group. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of in cahoots, so to speak. So it's not in their best interest to go so hard, let's be honest, on loot boxes. You know what I'm saying? That's revenue, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, for me, it's the same situation like last time. This is more of like a, you know, smoke and mirrors type of situation. This is not really addressing. It's just sad that now, even if a game doesn't have loot boxes, if it has DLC in-game purchases. It gets the label.
It gets the label. It gets the label.
True.
And one thing that I think and I hope it works towards is like something what King was talking about is like the responsibility should lie with the parent always. All of these systems have things in place on their networks, parental controls that should allow you to be able to keep your children from making unwanted purchases on these games and on these systems, either at the console level or at the game level. These things are all in place. It's just a lot of times parents are just like, whatever. They don't pay attention to this stuff. Right. Well, you know what? You need to pay attention to this stuff. You really do.
Now, to their defense, I will say that they are starting some website in conjunction with this for parents or something like that. And, you know, all that's nice, you know what I'm saying? But let's get Kratos in. What do you feel about the whole ESRB situation?
To tell you the truth, I think they shouldn't do anything, right? We already have ESRB ratings, and we've seen it at work inside of GameStops and other stores. We see people, the kids try to go in and get the Call of Duty, and then the clerk kind of tells them, hey, well, you know, I need your parent, or explain to their parent, well, this here has yada, yada, yada. So we've seen that work, right? At the end of the day, people are going to get what they want to get in some kind of form or fashion. I'm opposed to the government stepping in and doing anything because they typically don't do anything right anyway. So I think it's one of those things, especially regarding the loot crates and microtransactions and all that stuff. If people want to spend money on these things, let them. Yeah. I rarely ever spend an additional dime on a game that I've already bought for $60 unless I'm buying DLC. And DLC is totally different. Other than that, I just don't deal with it. So it doesn't affect me. But you know, again, it is kind of getting ridiculous, but who am I? Because obviously these companies are making billions and billions of dollars and people are buying this stuff. So, hey, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Lord Addict. What's your feeling on all this stuff, man?
I pass.
He's like, I ain't even touching this foolishness. Listen, I hear you. I mean, I'm with you. I think people have the right to you know, do what they want to do as far as their money, but at the same time, you know, if we're gonna do quote unquote regulation, let's, you know, do it right. You know what I'm saying? And let's not play games with this whole situation. Lord King, got anything on this? And let's solve on your own topic before we move on.
Well, you see my viewpoint on it. My viewpoint is the same. I like DLC. I like to purchase play to win or whatever. I like to get the little horse that nobody else has.
That'd be
I like that stuff. I mean, Assassin's Creed, I put real money into that. And I don't care if you don't want to do it. Nobody can put a gun in your head and say, buy that DLC. Nobody said that. So if you don't buy it, you don't buy it. And if you feel that, oh, he has an advantage because he has this, then you buy it. And if you can't afford it, because it sounds like a lot of people that can't afford it or that's looking for some free ride to get it. No, you're not entitled to anything, brother. What you're entitled to do is put in your credit card and purchase it if you choose. If not, then try harder. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to input my keyboard press. I'm going to get that package and I'm going to snipe you in that game that you like so much because I got that powerful sniper rifle that comes in the DLC that I purchased over here. So if you don't want me to snipe you, buy that helmet that costs $5 to stop the sniping because I'll be over there in the bush.
Are you encouraging pay to win tactics with your money?
Yeah, listen, you know what I'm encouraging? Listen,
why you guys are surprised at this point.
Listen, Addict knows. Come on, man, this ain't nothing new. You saw my Amiibo game.
Yeah,
I was getting mad stuff.
We did all admit that, you know, the only person here that's beat Legend of Zelda is me because he paid to beat Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Listen, you know, he can sit there and say whatever he want. I had that wolf day one, 5 seconds in.
Yeah, he's stupid.
Wow.
I can't with you.
Listen, Lord Cognito looked over and said, how the hell you got that wolf? Day one, 5 seconds in. Amiibo. What did Lord Cognito do? Hey, excuse me, you got those Amiibos with the wolf?
I ain't gonna lie. The wolf looked so cool. I was like, what quest is that? Did you got that from?
And he helps you out immensely. So yeah, to Lord Addict's words, this is right.
About that because I don't need him.
No, I'm glad you did not need him, but he helped me along the way, my faithful companion.
Absolutely, man.
So is it fair to say that your wolf beat the game and you didn't?
Yeah, my wolf beat the game. He input all the presses. He did everything, all that.
I just
but
wanted
you know
to
what
hear
happened?
that from you.
Did you get a special ending other than the one I got? Oh, ain't no ending like the one I got.
And on that note, we're gonna move on
You
from the
got me
White
on that
House.
one. There was
And these loot boxes. We can go on all day. But now we got some interesting news that's been popping off. Horizon Zero Dawn has now Kratos section.
He over there pounding his chest. Here we go.
Astonishing 7.6 million copies. And basically, these are created to Killzone. It's the most successful first-party franchise launch on PS4 to date.
Yeah.
So it's just truly exceptional what it's been doing. It was released obviously February of last year, so it's about a year old. It sold about 2.6 million in its first 2 weeks and 3.4 as of June 2017. So just wanted to bring this to the Lords first. We got a lot of Sony news going on right now, and it's appropriate that we have Lord Kratos on. So first about Horizon Zero Dawn, the success of it, the fact that it was a single player game and all that. The second thing also want to talk about is obviously we heard about Detroit Becomes Human, game I had my eye on. The release date has been announced for March 25th. So that's going to be a month after Kratos' own God of War. You know what I mean?
Rolling, baby.
Then we got the PS Plus games that's been announced, and it's going to be Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank, huge games to be jumped into PS Plus.
I just want to say that shout out to Kid Smooth. Like this is like a sign from like the gaming gods. Like you got to beat Bloodborne.
When it comes for free, he ain't got nothing.
The month that he makes this bet, Bloodborne's is a PlayStation games with Go.
Yep, just for him.
Just for him. Get ready for him. The PlayStation gods have spoken. And the last point I wanted to make was as far as PlayStation news was the Vita and the PS3 games actually being discontinued from PS Plus. So let's start off first with Horizon Zero Dawn. We know it's a point of contention here on the Iron Lord podcast. So we're going to start off with our man, Lord Kratos. How do you feel about all this?
Well, it's great, and when you wake up and you piss excellence, of course it's gonna it was bound to happen.
That was nice. That was nice. Excellence, piss excellence. It took a whole year to piss that excellence.
Yeah, but hey, it don't matter how long it take to get there. As long
as you get there, right? You know what? I'm not gonna front. I am so happy that y'all actually sold that 10% that I've been asking for forever. I mean, 2 weeks. It took you 2 weeks to sell 2 million. It took us 2 days to sell 3. In PUBG, when our 10% stands up, our 10% really resonates. It's really a real 10%. I don't know what trickle down effects that y'all did or how y'all switched the numbers around to get you into that box. To get you to that, because it's some booster seats that was used to get you up to that 7 million. But I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna front. That game is great. It's a great game. I'm not gonna front.
So check this out, right? So for one, it's not a shooter, and then for two, it's not on the shooter box. So obviously,
I think that
it's going to be a slow burn. It's not going to be that fast. On the hype of 30 million PC gamers. It's not on the hype of that. It's on its own. It's a standalone on its own. And it's good because you remember the company have only ever made Killzone.
Yes.
And in Killzone, they spent all these years trying to chase Halo, and it's like they needed to give up on that, right? Halo and it's right. Halo and it's right is on its own, and so you need to branch off and do your own thing. And this is what they came up with. And so this has solidified them among the gaming guys and what they're able to do. Now, this is good. I mean, and obviously, I think this game is going to keep selling. It's not going to stop. It's only been on the market for a year. It's going to keep selling, and it's a great game. It's a graphical showcase of what the PlayStation can do, whether you have a Pro or a Slim. It's just one of those games that you pop it in and people face, their jaws are going to drop. It is what it is. And, shout out for them for getting with Sony and saying, "Hey, we want to do something
else,
that's different, that's nobody else is doing, and we're not just going to copy, and we're just not going to throw loot crates and all this other stuff in there. We just want to make a good story-based game." And Sony has said that, right? This is what they do. This is their niche. They focus on story-driven games, and this is another one in a long line of story-driven narrative games. So if they keep on that path, it's being successful for them. So I say keep on. Maybe part 2, we may get a multiplayer or something like that. But you know, at the same time, this is nothing but great news. I mean, it's
absolutely
huge news.
Absolutely. Lord Addict, I need your feedback on this.
Which one are we referring to right
Horizon
now?
Zero Dawn. We're just starting off with that first. Its success to 7.6 mil.
I mean, it's like I say over and over again. That's what happens when you make good games. It's like people keep saying, "Oh, you only apply to the casual. If you don't apply to the casual base, you can't sell anything." That game slaps you in the face and says you're wrong. Like if you make a good game, you get good game money. That's just how it is. When you make like that's why all these developers and stuff, they want to make money like GTA. You don't have a GTA product.
Yes.
So don't complain when you don't have a GTA product that you didn't make GTA money.
Facts. No doubt. Lord Sovereign, Horizon Zero Dawn. What's going on?
I think any game that's not GTA or COD, right, would kill to sell almost 8 million copies in a year, right? So that's, I mean, it's amazing that it's done that. And like Addict said, it's a quality product. It's going to resonate. One thing that's always baffled me, and this is on, you know, on every console, is the fact that regardless, especially on Sony, like Sony's looking at nearly 80 million consoles sold, and they've only sold almost 8 million of this game, which is baffling to me, but it happens all the time. It just seems like these sort of games, it's the hardcore who buys them, right? And then the trickle down effect over the years, you'll see more and more purchases, the price comes down, and you'll see more casuals buying them. But like that 10 million, that 8 million, nearly 8 million, that's hardcore people buying it. And it baffles me that more people aren't buying this game. You know, it just, and the same thing is true like on Xbox, and the same thing is true on, I think on Switch is a little bit different because Mario is such a ubiquitous thing. Mario is such a big thing. Nobody knows Aloy, right? Yeah, you know. Yeah. But Mario is something that sells on so many fronts that it's, you know, you'll see those huge numbers. So I think it's amazing. I'm excited to see what they have in store for the next iteration of it. There were things the story wise, the game is fantastic. I got a little bored with the gameplay, with the taking down of the dinosaurs after a while. But story wise, it's gonna be great. And the thing about it is also they also talked about, you know, how they're doubling down now even more on single player stuff. Like they're restructuring Sony to focus even more on that. So I mean, if they're whipping ass right now, like it's gonna be crazy to see what they focus on going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. King and Jump, I was gonna jump in. Pretty good. Okay.
Oh no, I got something.
Oh, okay.
I got something.
Yes, for me. Oh no, go ahead.
Well, you know, I mean, because you usually close up the joint. They see everybody's been anticipating this topic. All right, so if they looked at the topic sheet and they said, "Oh, Kratos is in there with King,"
they say we're twins. We the same person. So
I know. Yeah, what they don't understand is what Sovereign said is true. A lot of parts, you know, it got tedious on certain things, right? But what Kratos said was true as well. It's a visual showpiece of excellence for the system. Now, when you're walking in the beginning of the game and he's holding that baby, you're like, wow, right? You're like, yo, this really looks good. When that HDR kicks in on your television and you see this game and its glory on that Pro, I'm not gonna lie, this game was really made for that Pro, and it really sings to it. The fact that they did sell those numbers, I'm happy for them because it's showing again what other people saying. Gaming is dead. Is not dead. Gaming is very alive, brother. And people are out here purchasing. You know, a lot of times you're gonna get my rants to the point that you got 80 million sold. Please sell 40 million games on one game at least. Please do that. That's my thought, and that's me being greedy.
Yeah,
because I have Horizon. I have the game. I purchased, so I'm part of the hardcore that purchased. So I can talk crap about my purchase. But what I see is a lot of times people don't give a game a shot, and they have negative comments about it before they even play a game. Play a game, see what it has to offer, enjoy it. If not, sell it, trade it, do whatever you're going to do with it. But partake in what your system has available for you. And this is one of the top-notch games, and I'm glad it has some form of success. And I hope that they sell 40 million. I hope that 8 million is an indication of it just keeps going all the way through. So
absolutely. Yeah, I'm on board all the lords on this. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I'm very proud of it. And I think what also can't be understated, let's be honest, you know, in Horizon Zero Dawn's defense, like most of these other games, this is a true single-player game, right? Most of the other games have a multiplayer component. You know, that kind of has been the driving force of the generation to help generate sales. Your friends are playing it and stuff like that. So to see this title succeed like that, similar to how in the Zelda vein, you know, a single-player title succeeding, it's amazing. Shout out to those guys, you know what I'm saying, Guerrilla Games. And again, the huge thing, like Kratos said, they were allowed to do something else. And as Microsoft fans, we always scream for that, right? We want them to do have the studios do other than the
until Coalition's rumored to do something else, and people
right.
Gears is going to be trash.
Yeah, that's true. Then they get mad. Then we get mad when they told they doing something else. You know,
or when they do something different, they say Gears is so bad now they have to make another game. That literally made no sense to me.
I completely agree, Lord. It's just funny how, you know, sometimes the Xbox community reacts when, you know, the stuff that they supposedly want is being done, and then it's a complaint for that, you know. But shout out to Playground Games, and we're hearing that, you know, they may or not be, you know, behind the Fable next Fable series and stuff like that. But the Horizon stuff is good to see. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see, you know, the continued success of that. So as far as the other parts to the PlayStation news, we talked about the Detroit already. March 25th, I think that's good back to back. I want to get into these PS Plus games because there's a lot of shout out to Addict, Kid Smooth, the crew at Planet Xbox, Merc. You know what I'm saying? Jazz, all y'all frog. I was listening to y'all. Y'all was going in on that PS Plus, you know.
They're being idiots, and I have to straighten them out.
I see you going hard. I see you repping. You know what I'm saying? There was a big debate, obviously, in reference to the PS Plus games quality, you know, versus the games for gold. So I want to get into that because obviously we've seen Bloodborne, Ratchet & Clank. These are huge games. And the second thing is about the Vita and PS3 games being discontinued and how we feel about that. So Lord Kratos, our guest, what do you feel about that whole comparison, you know, with the services and Vita and PS3 games discontinued?
Well, I want to say, you know, when it comes to the Vita and the other old games, I'm like, I think after it's been long enough, right? It's time for some of that stuff to go away. Right now, they're focusing on the future. I mean, there's a lot of people who sit here and they try to hold on to the past, and it's like that's kind of part of the issue that Microsoft had this generation was it was too many Xbox 360 guys that kept playing and holding on to their 360, and it's like it's time to let that go and focus on the new stuff. And it's the same thing with that. I think, you know, again, it's all opinionated. I say cut that stuff off, let it go. Nobody, if you don't have that stuff by now, come on, man.
So you good with it? You good?
I'm good with it.
All right.
I'm that gamer. Show me the new stuff. Show me the new stuff.
Fair. And what about where you at with the? Let's get fanboyish a little bit.
You already know
where you at with the PS Plus versus the games with gold though. Where you at with that?
It's over. It's game over. It's a reflection. It's a reflection.
Y'all got the boot on the deck.
It's a reflection of how this generation has turned out.
You know what? Sony, you're looking at the wrong.
Hey, you caught me at the right moment. You caught me at the right moment, buddy. But,
like you're looking at the wrong free stuff. We're dazzling you with the jab. We're hitting you in the mouth with the jab, and the Delonte Wilder right hand is coming over the top with that Game Pass. Where you at with that? Okay, that's the real.
Game Pass is good. I've always said Game Pass is great. I can have all your games for $10. I'm never buying another PlayStation game ever again. Thank you, Microsoft. You guys are gods for that. You've saved me so much money. I bought Sea of Thieves, right? I bought Sea of Thieves, pre-ordered it. Soon as they announce all these brand new games, everything is going to Game Pass. I canceled that. Got my money back.
They let people cancel the pre-order. Like that's funny.
Well, yeah, because I bought it on the Xbox store. So I bought it. I canceled that. Got my money back.
You can do it, but I kind of figured like for that particular moment, like don't let none of these people do it.
Try to keep them locked in.
They already got the money, right? Yeah, they already got the. No,
because PlayStation, for some reason, they won't even let you refund pre-orders.
They ain't trying to hear that. Sony ain't trying to hear that. Nah, fam. We got your money. It's over. Sorry. Catch us on the next one.
Yo, you know what? I really like him because he a fan. He know the BS that's popping off, but he like, yo, I'm riding with that BS though.
That's why we love Lord Kratos, man. Absolutely.
Yes, man. That's what's up, man.
My friend, he just lost like $300 or $400 worth of stuff because they were supposed to change his email the last time that he talked to them because he got locked out of his PSN account, and they didn't. They just unlocked it for him, or he can get in it. And he just bought a Pro, and he sold his regular PS4, and he cannot get into his account. And they called him, and they said, "Well, there's nothing we can do about you."
Wow.
He said, "What is my option?" He's like, "That dude straight up, dead no lie, man. Told him start another PSN." And we're like, "Well, what do I do about all the stuff I buy?" He said, "No lie, you got to buy it again."
Yep. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Finish up, Kratos, if you were good, or you're good.
I'm good, man. Again, Game Pass is good. We this month games for gold versus versus PSN.
It's just the boot is on the neck. It's just think about it, man. I keep saying this over and over. Sony sit backs and wait for Microsoft to make a move, and then Sony comes out and punch him in the back of the head.
I cannot wait to go next. I cannot wait to go next. I cannot wait to go next.
Sony be sneaking them.
They wait for them people in the back of the head.
Yeah, like okay, all these rumors about them buying studios and doing all this stuff that comes out, and everybody's talking about it, and then Sony will come and catch them off guard and push them down or something. I mean, Sony just with the release date, they back
horizon numbers.
Boom, PSN. But it's like Microsoft just can't catch a break, and Sony not letting them get anything.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, shout out to Potentially Perfect in the chat. He's saying thank you guys for finally saying it. He says Sony is very reactionary. I almost want to say like they're like Team Petty. Like, word, y'all
yeah, that's right. They are petty.
They were like, we hear you're doing $200 for a Black Friday. Oh, we got something for you.
I would agree. It does give the feeling that I have to agree with Local. It feels like they're very reactionary to what Microsoft does. And keeps that boot on.
The only thing they're not reactionary to is like the important stuff, like backwards compatibility, PSN stability.
Well, services, I would agree with you. Like services, Microsoft, tremendous job. But let me just get Lord King in on the rebut. You know what I'm saying? Because we know this is what the fans want to see. Everybody saw Kratos and King in the headlines.
Let's get ready to rumble! He said these dudes punch us in the back of the head anytime we do something nice. Time out. What you didn't realize what they did was they gave you a backhanded compliment. They did. They told you, here, we're giving you these 2 great games this month. You said, oh my God, Sony, you are the gods. But we're taking away.
That's how they did. They did the Trojan horse to it?
Yes, we will be removing all Vita support from this day forward.
Yeah.
With Sony giving
that's a Yoshida shuffle, brother. That's a Yoshida shuffle.
Yo, you know what's funny?
They had us hyper over those two hype games, and then they like, now the count goes from 4 to 2. That's what.
Yes, yeah. Look, listen. He knows this. Okay, he knows this. And he's hoping that y'all fall for the smoke and mirrors. He knew he was getting 4 games a month, and now it's down to 2. It better be 2 good games that's coming out because Microsoft is giving out 4. So any kid that knows math, I don't care how good your games is, do you want 4, sir, or do you want 2? I'll take the 2. The hell with that. Give me them 4. I mean, it's free, right? Supposedly.
What do you have to say about the they've been giving 6 games away for like a minute?
Yeah.
Sony.
It's
Sony.
at the end of the day, it's
around every month for since
Yeah, they've been giving a lot. They've been giving a lot.
Well, their services suck if you can get. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Soft.
If you can actually get online to play anything,
Oh my God.
because it was down for like a month, so you needed to have a Switch. I understand why he has all those gigs.
Oh my
And he knows. Listen, the thing is, y'all gonna sit there and y'all gonna act. He knows what I'm saying is factual because he's laughing with it. He like this. You're damn straight. Anytime it go down, I'm strict Switch bound, or I'm gonna get on the Xbox. Listen, I understand.
I'm
I
gonna
have
tell
a
you now.
PlayStation.
Now, let me tell you. When PSN does go down, guess what? It doesn't affect us. You know why? Because we have a plethora of single player exclusives that will take over where we don't have to do it.
Let me ask you that question.
You know, that
Do you
might be
think
the
that-
best damage control I've ever.
Do you think that right there
You're
is
dealing with a guy. You're dealing with a guy.
Do you think that is strategic and planned because they know that they services is crap and you're gonna be alone a lot? Do you think that they say we're not gonna focus on multiplayer because we can't sustain a network and let's give them a lot of single player games?
Here's a better question for you, Kratos.
around that.
Here's a better
They know how
question.
bad they are, so they're giving you one player games.
Here's a better question for you, Kratos. Is that the reason they don't let you change your gamer tag? Because you don't interact with each other because you're all phones all the time?
You're so fanboy right now.
You just may be right, but at the end of the day, they will not bundle their great of the greatest IPs and sell them off at thrift store prices.
That was
Yo, you know what? That's what happens when you're coming in from the rear. That's what happens when the leader is so far ahead. You have to do safari things. You have to do things that make people take notice of you. I'm sorry. You know it's a fact. You have to listen. If we was winning, we wouldn't be doing this.
You're right.
It wouldn't be happening.
Thank you.
All right. So
Thank you.
let's not act.
Yeah, we'll agree, right? We'll agree. If Microsoft wasn't in the position that they're in, we wouldn't be getting Game Pass. We wouldn't.
No, none of that stuff. Why would we?
Exactly.
You nailed
So,
it.
but I mean, there's a lot of people that believe that Microsoft cares about me. This is why they're giving me. and it's like if they cared about you, you've been kind of, asking them to give you all these games and to do this and do this. Fight back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Phil Spencer becomes the, hey, we're kumbaya, we're here. Sony has some great games. I love those. Nintendo has some great games. I love those. And it's not reciprocated back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a frustration.
Because this is what's great about this competition. At the end of the day, it benefits gamers. With Sony doing well, Microsoft has to go extra hard. During the PS3 era, when 360 was doing well, you know what I'm saying? Sony realized
that's how we got these good games.
That's how
you're right.
Man. I want to get
Sony would not be in a position that they're in if Microsoft and Nintendo hadn't pushed them to do what they're doing, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. Lord Sava, we got to get you there, man.
Yeah, man. Like, all right. So my thing is really a question, right? Well, this month, PS Plus there's no question that PS Plus is
on the neck.
On the neck. I mean, if I didn't own both of those games already, I'd be losing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to remove PS3 and Vita from this, and they announced no replacement. Now, and this is the thing that bothers me about it, right? So you're telling people already, you know what? And it bothers me minimally. Some people are more angry about this, but the thing about it is, you're telling me, okay, you're giving me the same service
with less
games now, and you didn't announce a replacement. And what I mean by replacement is they didn't say, you know what, we're gonna put a PSVR game in there, right? I mean, and they could very well be counting PS4 games as PSVR, but it is sort of its own thing. Like, for the most part, if it's a PSVR game, you're gonna need PSVR to play. It's not a game that you can play on PS4 by itself. So it should be its own separate thing. So the fact they didn't say, hey, we're gonna throw PSVR on there is a little weird to me, because to me, as well as they've done with PSVR, I would think you want to, give people the incentive to go out there and buy that headset. If you're giving me free games for it every month, and I don't have it yet, I'm gonna want to buy the headset, right?
Just to piggyback off what you're saying, Lord, because I know where you're going with it, and this is part of something where I was going to go with it too. Is also, do we feel like in this age, this digital age, right, where everything we get in these free games Gold, Game Pass, yada yada yada. I agree with Lord Kratos in a sense. I know for the most part, everyone on the round table today is not playing PS3 and Vita games like that. Let's just say that, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, like, these are services that were promised. And what do we feel about in this digital age with things getting discontinued? Because that's the argument for the physical guys against the digital guys. Like, you don't own that. So at the end of the day, if Sony, Microsoft, anyone shuts down those services, you're done. You don't have access to these games. So I want to know, what does the Roundtable Lords feel about that aspect as far as ownership and services going away? It's
a little scary because when you look at, I'm sorry, you want to go ahead, Addict?
I feel like if they ever shut down their services like that, like, are you talking about like games with gold and stuff like that? You don't.
Yeah, I'm just talking about.
I feel like if they shut down that service of games with gold, they would probably relinquish all the rights to those games and let you own them. I feel like that's the only way that they could get away from that.
Without a big backlash. Yeah, I mean, I think the worry with that, especially with Sony, is they haven't made it clear that moving forward they're going to be doing this stuff, right? So with PS4, anything you get for PS4, as of this point, you can assume that it's going to stay there and it's not moving with you. Whereas Microsoft has already said, like, that's not what's happening. So you have a little more confidence in that ecosystem and having that stuff moving forward. So I think with Sony, it's a little more worrisome because they haven't been clear about what they want to do with that, right? My assumption is they have to do it, but they could do whatever they want. It could very well be. And the same thing with Nintendo. Like, I've gone pretty much all digital on Switch, in the hopes that Nintendo, gets it. But more than anybody else, I don't know that Nintendo gets it. So it's like, what happens, with the next console.
Facts. Lord King, you wanted to jump in. I heard you.
It's like, it's hard because I feel sorry for the PlayStation 3 dudes that didn't make the jump, that was counting on these games, and I have my Vita, like I said, it's right next to me, but I do physical with the Vita, so the digital didn't bother me. My PlayStation 3, it doesn't bother. I don't buy them, and I don't download those games for my PSN. Actually, I don't even have PSN, to be honest with you. I got it that month when I played shout out to Hip Hop Gamer, logged in right there, got the game, downloaded the game right there. That's what real men do. They're about that smoke. Ain't they hollow man? Somebody call you out, you get up in there, you about that smoke. I let him set the parameters, and I swung up in there, bang bang. That's what real men do. They don't run and hide and have other men handle their business for them. But again, this stuff is so distant from me, but I can empathize with those people that utilize this service and they look for those games. So like Addict said, like in the future, if they was to get rid of games of gold, would they relinquish those things? Hell no. I don't think so. I think they're going to look at you and say, well, you no longer have access to those contents. We let you hold that. There was a lease agreement.
I think it would just depend on how and why it happened.
Yeah, like what would precipitate that to happen in that nature? But again, back to what they did and what is being lost. They, like Sovereign said, they need to form a replacement. It would be great for VR. Because then I can get a couple of more VR games that I don't normally have and use it a little bit more. I'm too chicken crap to play by myself in the house. I have to be a team around me because you isolated in that world, brother. I'm telling you now. But yeah, the VR would be nice as a good replacement for them. And I would like that. That would be great.
That actually would encourage me to get it if they actually included, if they replaced that with one of those games. Be honest, that's just me thinking. What do you think, Lord Kratos? Where is he still there? Or is Mike's down? All right. What do you think, about VR if they threw that in?
No, I mean, like I said, like I'm kind of surprised that they didn't announce a replacement immediately, and VR makes the most sense, unless at some point they're gonna cut that off, which I certainly hope not. Because my thing is, I know I said at the end of last year I was getting it, I was getting VR. And I don't know how many times I was on the Amazon page, how many times I was physically in the store ready to buy it. And something told me, you know what? I think there's an update coming out this year. I want to be untethered. Like I don't want to deal with the wire, so I didn't pull the trigger. And my hope is that we get a 2.0 version that's wireless at some point. Because that's really what I want.
Can I tell you why that's not going to happen?
Jump in.
Okay, as an owner of, I was a day one adopter of the Oculus Rift. So
you and King are the same. God, I'm sorry.
I listen
the same person. Oh my, he did this thing. He was going so hard for you. I'm sorry to cut you guy, little Kratos. I just laugh when you say things because it literally reminds me of King. Continue.
So I understand and I thought about this, right? You can't go wireless because you have to think about it. This is your safety. The wires tether you and keep you in a certain safe perimeter. If it's wireless, right, and you start swinging, you're going to hit somebody, you're going to hit something, you're going to hurt yourself, and the liability goes on the company. We need something that has barriers. It has to have a physical barrier, and that's just
natural selection. Take order, okay?
Listen, not all of us have a huge garage where we can set this up and just be, just free of this stuff. You have to have a certain, I don't know if it's a mat that they put down or something. There's going to have to be some if they decide to do the whole wireless deal. It's I can see why wires is there. It's there for your safety, but it's also because of the data is such high rate. These things are running at a minimum of 90 frames per second. So you got to realize the tech that goes behind this. It is what it is. But I hear people say, I'm just going to wait for it to go wireless. I'm like, you know what? You're going to be waiting a long time.
I think you're right about that. I'm be honest. I think you're right about that.
Be honest. Most of us are lazy, right? Most of the people I know that have VR, they want to be sitting in the chair, sitting on the couch, playing VR. They don't want to be up there,
moving around.
Yeah. I see it all the time. I'm like, why don't you get up and do this and do that? There's a boxing game on PSVR. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh,
it's like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Yeah, it's literally like Mike Tyson Punch Out. And it's such a workout. So after you finish, if you ain't been working out, man, you're gonna be sore, you're gonna be sweating and everything else. But if this thing was wireless, man, you're gonna be, man, you punching, freaking fireplace,
TV up.
Dropping keys, it's gonna be.
Kratos, do you remember the first initial videos of the Wii when people they didn't strap their wrists into the remote and it was flying out above the TV? Could you imagine if you're loose in the living room with this thing on the head and you just swinging around punching that stuff? Come on, man.
Shout out to Lord Sam Toba. He said they're getting close. He said the MS demo VR headsets 1440p res 120 frames per second and only one wire. So maybe in the future, but it is heavy data.
The Microsoft ones are wireless. The PC ones, right? The ones that they showed at the CES show. The ones that have the internal tracking and the external tracking as well. External tracking, that's what they're allowing another company to develop and push that out, and they make the games. I think that's the smarter move. But what Sony is controlling is the narrative of how PSVR is presented to the public, and I think they're doing a great job at being ambassadors towards that gatekeeper type of thing. Yes, Sony does a lot of things first as well. It's not just Microsoft, and I'm very happy that they did this because I'm a proponent of VR. I think everybody should try it at least once to see if they like it, because it's a different genre of what we love in this medium.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just want to finish up on this topic. Man, I think the Lord, you guys all knocked it out the park. As far as the as far as the Vita and the PS3 stuff, I definitely, just raise my eyebrow a little bit. I understand why, what I'm saying, but again, if the quality of the games of gold, PS Plus is going to stay at that level, I don't know if it can maintain it. That would be great. We'll see what happens with that. And that's all I pretty much got on that. Unless the Lord's got any more on this topic.
Yeah, I wanted to add to it a little bit, like what I mentioned before about how Sony made the statement of how they're restructuring internally to sort of focus even more on first party stuff. And like, what do you guys think about that? Like, what does that mean moving forward for like their third party deals that they have with Call of Duty and Activision and Destiny? Like, are they saying that, come next gen, maybe those deals aren't in place? And also, like, how does Microsoft react to that? How does Nintendo react to that? Like, that's
Good question.
They're saying we're gonna double down on what we do best.
Right. Facts.
And that's kind of nuts, man. Like, I mean, because their first party, second party output is already crazy as it is.
Absolutely.
You got to look at that. And
I agree. I mean, I'll jump in. I thought it was pretty amazing for them to even come out and make that statement. To me, it's identity. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the Sony ecosystem. That's what they do. You know what I mean? When I watch a Sony trailer, I watch a Spider-Man, like they're just good at presenting these great narrative pieces. You know what I'm saying? You watch the God of War, you sitting there. That's what, as an Xbox guy, I have to say I really enjoy watching Sony conferences only because I guess I don't know if it's the movie background, the cinematic nature. They know how to present.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? They definitely know how to present great graphical showcases and powerhouses of the games that they have, and that is something that is unmatched this generation.
Absolutely, and that's the only thing I wish Microsoft would take a piece from. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you can say what you want, but it's like people be leaving them conferences all emotional.
On Planet Xbox, I don't know if it was like in a private party or anything, but I made the mistake to say that I think Sony being in the movie industry helped them drastically make a better games. And people like, no, that's not true. But like, okay, tell me those set pieces of Uncharted isn't movie expired.
Yes, man. Listen, like when Loquaris went into his history and he talked about that God of War trailer, right?
Yeah.
Remember, Lord, we was in E3. We was at E3, me, you, Lord Whiskey, and we sat there and we watched the trailer. We was like, hey, yo, they out there, they moving over this.
I do kind of feel bad because the people who make Days Gone, like me and Cognito were talking to him at a private showing when they're showing the game at E3, and he was like, "So are you guys a new studio?" This dude straight up looked at us. We've been making games for Sony for like 15 years.
Exactly.
It shows, and again, not any fanboy nonsense. It's just facts. It's facts. You have to give credit where credit is due, and that's their strength. And I'm not mad, like what Sovereign is saying, that they're going to continue to double down on it. That's what their identity is to me. And I'm not mad at Xbox with Game Pass and put it. If you look at like the Sea of Thieves and a lot of these multiplayer games are in there, right? That's their ecosystem. That's their strength. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind when people double down on what you do. You know what I'm saying? That's your thing. But what do other lords think about that for you more?
No, y'all hit the nail on the head. Is be what you are and stop trying to be something you not. Hollow Man.
Oh, I knew Hollow Man was coming.
Hollow Man. Be exactly who you are and stop trying to be something you're not. You're not a king. You're not a boss. You don't stand on those two toes. You sit down when you go to the bathroom. So what I want you to do is be you, and I'ma be me. All right. Anyway, back to the games. I love the fact that Sony is definitely going to be them, and Microsoft is doing them, and Nintendo will always do them.
I think to me it's one of those things where, but we've seen that this particular narrative has done very well for them. So it's just one of those things where the other two got to look at it and be like, all right, man, we really have to like up our game in this aspect, because this is what's gotten Sony, again, when we talk about identity, this is Sony's identity through and through. And the fact that they're just making sure that shines through more than anything else, it to me, the other two got to really look at it and be like, hey, man, we gotta double our efforts too.
Yeah. Well, you look at, if you take a look at Nintendo, right? They have carved their niche out. They said, look, we don't want to compete with the big high end 4K and all the specs and stuff. This is what we do well. We do handhelds. We do the cartoony type stuff. This is where we're gonna stay. This is who we are. This is what we're gonna focus on to the end of time.
Low-key, let's be real here. Low-key, they're like, yeah, I don't care what they do. Our Pokemon outsells all their platforms.
Facts. I mean, that's the truth.
They're in their own lane.
But I do feel like Microsoft, this generation, they have lost what they were and what created how they were last generation, how they dominated. They have lost that. They have no sense. So now they're like over here, they're over there. They're still trying to find their identity. And I think they've made some strides to try to reshape themselves. But Microsoft and Xbox is not the Xbox and the Microsoft of yesterday, of the company that we remember. They're just not.
Right.
Some people can say that's for the better. Some people say that's for the worse. I don't know. I'm not going to judge that, but it is what it is. But you have half the people begging for Microsoft to do things the way they did last generation. Then you have the other half accepting of everything that they present going forward for the future. Right now, the big question mark is, where are we going with this thing? We know that they've made a bunch of changes. They put some games on PC. They got Game Pass. They're doing a streaming service that they're working on. Phil Spencer said. What's the end game for this? For what they're trying to prep right now, and none of us know. None of us know, and that's the scary part.
Good question. You're actually leading us into the next topic, which is Addict's topic, as far as obviously what's been going on, all these rumors, what to make sense of it, and where do we think going. So let's push that into Addict's topic. Addict, where are you at with this whole situation? I know you wanted to talk about that.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty clear. There's a lot of stuff going on with Microsoft. We go from a year of nothing. No one talks about it. No one's talking about anything Microsoft related to Microsoft's buying EA, Microsoft's buying Steam, Microsoft's buying PUBG, Microsoft making this studio, Microsoft, like, it's Sega. Crazy. Like, Microsoft's buying Sega, like, is there any of these we believe, or do we like believe none of them? Like, I'm curious what everyone else is saying.
Let's off get some. That's all.
What?
As far as the rumors, he said what?
Oh no, no, because you said like I was chomping at the bit. Like I was.
No. I just meant to say like just to let you get in. My bad. I didn't mean it like that. No, I'm just saying like, you know, as far as the first part, which is, you know, Kratos' point, which is where do you think Microsoft is going with their recent actions, and then B, to Addict's point, as far as the whole rumors that you actually believe.
Yeah, I mean, to me, where I think they're going is, again, this unified ecosystem thing, where at some point in the future, and who knows how far in the future that is, we're looking at Microsoft being a ubiquitous thing all over, or Xbox, should I say. Microsoft already is a ubiquitous thing, but Xbox as being a brand that's everywhere, and they'll have their own hardware, and they'll be happy to have you play on that, or they'll be happy to have you play on whatever down the line. I think that's the end game ultimately, however many years down the line that is. So I think we're not hearing about that because it's, I think Phil is well aware of the damaging power of forcing people to do something they're not ready to do. So it's going to be a slow burn. We're going to see improvements on the ecosystem front with Xbox, with the X and whatever comes after the X. And I think it's just going to be a slow progression towards that unified ecosystem type of thing.
Gotcha.
And what was the second part?
Just in reference to which actual rumors that you actually believe, if any. That remember, it's been Valve, it's been EA, it's been Sega.
None. None.
I think
all these rumors, nothing.
Oh, hey, that's true. I think some of the Sega stuff. I think some of the Sega stuff in terms of not buying it, but
the chances this is like completely slim. But it would be like the most hilarious thing because I'm all about the world burning. And if it came out like at E3 that Microsoft, all these rumors are true. Everything now.
That'll be great, right? That'll be great. But here's the thing. Phil has said that he's looking to buy stuff, right? But then when people that make sense, like Respawn, needed to be bought, they didn't act. Capcom was struggling. They needed some help.
See, there's a reason for that.
Hey, they had alternative motive. They're like, we're gonna wait next year. We gonna buy whole EA. We gonna take Respawn.
Yeah, like why would you buy a piece of the store when you can just buy the store? Like, I don't want a booth inside your store. I want your store.
Okay, so let me ask you this: come E3,
right?
None of that stuff happens. I'm just saying now it could. I'm just
You
saying
gotta
what if it
believe.
happens? Then are we going to be sitting around talking about
It was a great distraction.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's time to put up a shut up. We've been
No, you know what it is. We don't have to. We don't have to put up a shut up. Y'all need to maintain the level that y'all doing, and y'all doing great at doing it. What we're doing is we're doing things to secure the future into the next generation. Listen, you already won this generation. You know that. So don't even sit here and act like you didn't win the fight. There's no need to make somebody punch drunk. You wave the towel. The referee comes in. They separate the two combatants. You won. Your hand is up. Take your belt and move to the side. So the thing is this, right? Now that these individuals is looking into positions, I hear you. And your heartbeat sounds like Sasquatch feet. Because you saying if they buy EA, what does that mean for us? See, everything turns out to what did that mean for us? That's what it means. So what Sony did was Sony said they looking to buy stuff. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we do best, and we're gonna develop more of our stuff. Right?
Yes.
Smoke and mirrors. This is what I'm trying to say. Maybe none of this stuff comes to pass. Maybe most of it comes to pass. Like Addict said, I'm in a part of maybe it all happens. Because some people said before that Disney, Marvel will never acquire all their assets. Nobody saw Disney coming and purchasing Marvel. Uh-oh, money in the back now. My pockets is fat now. It's about to go down now.
They purchased Fox, and now the whole MCU is pretty much
Fox. They got them.
But
so now you know what might end up happening because Warner Bros. And this sounds far fetched, right? But all that other stuff was far fetched too. Warner Brothers is going to be up for sale in a second. What happens if Disney buys them? Nobody says, no, that's not going to happen. All right, okay. I'm just saying this, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. We all know that. We come from this gaming stuff that we used to hear things and be like, nah, that's not what they did it. So
let Kratos get some rebuttal.
I know. Kratos, go ahead, man. Jump in there. Go ahead, get in there.
To say. All right, I'm gonna say two things, and I just gotta keep it real.
Keep it all the way.
For one, I think it's Microsoft. Even in 1,000 years, can never beat Sony at video games. That's just what it is. That's my first thing. That's my first thing. Okay, my second thing is, even if Microsoft made all these moves and bought all these games, Microsoft is about money, right? They're about business. They are not going to keep it just for the 35 million install base they have. Right. They want that, and they will be able to tap into that 80, 78 to 80 million PlayStation fan base. And Nintendo is coming up pretty soon, and PC. Microsoft is a big. I mean, they're looking to take it all. It's not. I think Xbox guys need to stop thinking that Microsoft really cares about the small picture when they care about the big picture.
Let's theoretically say that they do buy these companies, and let's theoretically say that they looking for the long term, not the short run. They're trying to make money in the long run, not in a couple of years. We're talking like 5 to 10 years. And they did make all this Windows on Steam and Xbox exclusive and kept it off the PlayStation brand. What do you think would happen?
See, that's what Kratos. This is exactly what I was saying to you.
A drastic impact. You are highly mistaken.
Right. See, Kratos,
I literally can see I can see Microsoft doubling their install base in a year.
In an instant.
You can.
You said it. You said it yourself.
No. But I'm saying, do you? I don't know.
Everyone over there is not going to play Madden. Everyone over on PlayStation is not going to play all the games EA has. Battlefield, Battlefront. No, they go into the brand that has it.
What? See, this is
on my phone.
Oh yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah, Kratos. What I was saying, like you illustrated my point perfectly. Microsoft wants it all. They want that install base. So why not be real with the rumors? Like, you set it up properly that if I want to make a real change, a real impact, you take away the ammo out of the gun from the opposite person, so they can't shoot those bullets at you. So no Madden for you, no this for you, no that for you, no this for you, and then what? Then you have to rely on your in-house. Sony is not Nintendo. They can't survive off of their own.
Listen,
what
makes you think?
We know that this is bare minimum. Like even if they bought it, bare minimum that they would ever keep it from the other platform.
They're not going to keep it.
See,
they would never keep it from.
I get that. I get that. But all I'm saying is, if they did, it would be devastating to the PlayStation brand. Not a little bit. It would be devastating. How many EA games would make a year? Literally, you're taking probably 25 to 30% every game.
I agree with the impacts on it, but I agree with Kratos as well. I
agree with him as well.
We all agreed with it.
They have not shown that they are going to do that exclusive route. Like, remember when they got creamed from Rise of the Tomb Raider just for that year exclusivity? So Phil has shown, based on his patterns, that he is not about keeping content and stuff exclusive. He's not even when Anthem came on their stage.
Going to do it. We're arguing the impact it would have on.
Absolutely.
That is true.
I
see both sides of it. I see both sides
from that.
Absolutely. Now finish up, Kratos.
If I'm just asking for Microsoft, hey, deliver me some quality games that are graphical showcases for your platform like Sony is doing for theirs, that's all I'm asking for. And if you haven't provided that for me, what makes me think that you're going to go and do some big major money moves? Like, you're not even doing the bare minimum. You want to do some big major moves.
Here's the thing, though, that I would argue. Obviously, what we're talking about, but I do think there is a big difference between then and now. And there's someone else in Phil Spencer's spot, and Phil Spencer has a seat at the table.
I only begotten son.
Let me say this one thing.
I don't think that's going to get money for like EA purchase, but I do think that's going to bring a lot more revenue to the Xbox brand.
Let Kratos go, then soft jump in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say this. It's been 5 years now. Microsoft, people act like Phil Spencer was not right there standing right next to Donnie D. Don Matrix.
You know what's nice?
I gotta jump in.
It doesn't.
All right. So the only thing, I feel where you're going, and I feel you. Like, yo, it's 5 years. I've been hearing this what if garbage. I feel you. Like, all I'm gonna say, the only thing I gotta give Addict and King is that this is the first time Phil is in position.
Yeah, even when he was beside Don Matrick, he didn't have corporation.
Yeah, he didn't have any.
They had an answer to the lead of marketing, not the lead of marketing, the leader of the entire
inner circle. Right? He's at the table now. Like, he's getting the more influence. That's the only reason why I said, let me see this year, because I do agree with you. Don't get me wrong. They've been talking a lot, and there's a lot of this rumors here and all that. I'm of the same mindset of you are. Like, I need to see, because all I've been hearing is what if, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. I just want to see what he does now that he's in position, because it's clear that he's in position. And so far, I mean, let's be honest, this first year, 2018, we've had more positive news in these first 3 months than all of 2017. 2017, we called it the Lords. We called it officially the year of the Lords. Yes, the year of Xbox.
Now, considering,
continue, Kratos, and continue Addict. Sorry.
When he came into power, it was like the beginning of last year, the end of the year before that. He did give out a roadmap. He said, "I'm working on services, then hardware, then first-party games." That was his exact sentence. He has stayed behind that phrase this entire generation that he actually took over the brand. Now, if you look at what he's did, Game Pass, Xbox One X, now we're hearing a shit ton of rumors about first-party exclusives.
Yeah.
It's literally going in the exact sentence that he said.
Listen,
we heard rumors about Game Pass. Game Pass came out. We heard rumors about the X. The X came back. Now we're having rumors about first party shit.
But here's the thing, right? Is I don't know, but this Phil Spencer is the same guy that said games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda don't cut it like they used to. And so how can I dare How can I dare listen to this man after he didn't say something crazy like that?
But it goes back to what cutting it like it used to means. Like all of that stuff.
I think he needs to say it's not. These games wouldn't cut it for us and our platform. Not
he's talking about a long longevity when it comes to the franchise.
How many Zeldas have we got? What kind of longevity is that?
Be real here. The top 10 selling games every month rarely have these games in it. Horizon did fantastic, but still you see GTA 5 on the top. You see Rainbow Six Siege on the top. You still see these mad multiplayer Overwatch. Okay. And then you see the occasional like Zelda that's like on 3 or 4.
But I do see Kratos' point in saying like you don't say that blanket statement when it's y'all that can't do your own thing.
Yeah, you know what? He is right
over here.
You know what, Kratos? What I would say to you is, we've been down in this generation for so long. Any positive words or encouragement for us to stand up, because prideful.
I get it.
So if there's any type of light at the end of the tunnel, we're gonna hold on to that. Now if you look at my gamer tag, it's me and Phil.
Yeah.
Right, and he's the realest exec that I've come in contact with. If he speaks it, he tries not. He uses an even tone. He's more about inclusion anyway than exclusion. So if he actually did purchase EA, I'm pretty sure all those games would still be on everybody's system anyway. I don't think that it will go in a narrative of dictatorship as far as.
I think if they bought EA, I think there would maybe 1 or 2 studios that they put
exclusively. Yeah.
I think I do think Anthem would end up being exclusive.
Yeah, but
I think the only reason they would do that is spite from Bungie and Destiny.
Could be, but if you're looking at it from the standpoint of us being beaten in the head, like you said, the back of the head, get punched in the back of the head. It was funny as hell to me. It was funny as hell. You're right, and I just see it as, let us get a little bit of sunshine on our back, son. You've been standing in the sun for a moment. You sold 7 million, 8 million. Let's go
little light. He said we wishing on the stuff. He said you Xbox guys wishing on the stuff.
Listen, I get it. And King, Lord King, man. I thank you for putting it in that way, man. I'm glad, like, you real, man. You a real brother. A serious business. You said that where a lot of other people wouldn't have said that, but you just factual, right? When you see a number one, you see a number one. You don't see a number 4 or 5 or anything else. So you put it right out there, and that's what we've been saying. It's like this whole generation, but it's like it's guys out there that are just in denial about that.
I have everything. You have everything,
exactly,
and you know who's the market leader when you look at your stuff. But you also know who you play with.
Yes.
So my fanism is going to be towards Xbox. I play with these guys. All these guys in this chat, I play with them.
Yeah.
You understand? We play on Xbox. It could be easily we was playing on PlayStation, but that's not where we play at. We play on Xbox. So of course I'm going to gravitate towards that, because when I go downstairs I pick up that controller. So of course I want them to win. That's the horse I bet on. That doesn't mean that's the horse that's supposed to win. I'm not entitled to anything.
To be honest with you, people keep saying like, so Microsoft needs to try to do what Sony's doing. They tried. The reason
they're not good at it.
Like,
that's true.
They're not good at it. That's how Phil got that statement.
If they would have stuck to what made the 360 what it was, like the best multiplayer experience you could possibly have, with like single player experience that splashed into the generation, they would be doing way better than they are now. What's the last system seller they had? Titanfall. What's the last one besides that? PUBG. What all these have in common? They're some of the biggest multiplayer games you could have at that time.
That they should double down and show. Shout out to Delapo in the chat. He just made a great point. He said, I generally think that owning all the consoles really does open your eyes to a lot of things. And it's true. And I think a lot of, let's be real, a lot of the fanboy stuff, and like I said, we all got our favorites. We're not going to deny that. But a lot of it is because dudes say, look, let's keep it real. Like, I only got enough bread for one of these systems. So they be like, I'm going to keep it real. They be like, I got to make an informed decision on what I'm about. So once you make that decision, that's the horse you bet on. So low key, those people going to feel a way if the side they didn't pick, you know what I'm saying, is succeeding. That's just how things are. And I think a lot of it, that's how it, it gets into this whole people not being real about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing, Lord, we at least try to strive on, and shout out to King for saying what he said and Kratos for bigging him up, because it's like, yo, we know what's going on here. We're not stupid. We just choose. This is our favorite platform. Yes. You know what I'm saying? We choose the game, this is the ecosystem that we like. But at the end of the day, we're not going to disrespect Sony and see that, they got the boot on the neck. It's obvious this generation. It is what it is. My whole point to the whole bigger, longer picture to your initial question, Kratos, is that I think it's what you said, that Xbox realizes this, and this is the long game set up for next generation. Get these services in place, get this Game Pass. You notice they're really doubling down on backward compatibility, bringing your whole library forward. You know what I'm saying? So now, and then they also realized, to King's point, the power narrative was killing them. Right. So I think Phil, and this is just my opinion, I just feel Phil has made a conscious decision. We can never be behind those Digital Foundry videos ever again, because we see how to fit. Let's be real. Digital Foundry is the voice of this generation. I don't care what nobody say. People tune into them videos and you see how many P's and how many K's and how many frames and what's going on, and people feel the way. They got their chest out. So I think Microsoft has just made those conscious decisions to kind of use that, re-up, reload, and get ready for the next generation. So anyway, what the rest of the Lords in Kratos and Soft got? My bad.
You can't beat them, buy them.
Here we go, baby. That's right.
And I just think, I think as Xbox heads, we just want them to be more competitive in that space, and they haven't been. Like Kratos said, like they just haven't lived up to that. Like, and they just need to be more competitive in that space. Give us more. Yes, they've had some bad luck in terms of games they've had to cancel or whatnot. They just weren't up to the quality that they wanted. It happens, and like I said with Sony, as long as a lot of their games take to come out, they come out whenever, however long it takes, and that matters. That gives people a confidence, especially the hardcore. It gives them a confidence in those brands, and that's something that the people that were once loyal to Xbox don't see anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a tale of the two takes, right? If you're an Xbox guy and you feel like they haven't given you what you wanted, a lot of people have jumped shipped, and it's crazy when I say that, because it's like, why would a person jump ship? All it takes is for you to spend $199 to go get your PlayStation or a Switch or whatever, and then just have the best of all worlds. This big buffet. So when they do come out with games that you like, you're already there. But I think it's just, it just kind of, it's just like playing football, right? You got your favorite football team. You like rooting for that team. You hate everybody else's team. You don't want to do nothing with, like I hate the Cowboys. I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston, so I'm a Texans fan. Can't stand the Cowboys. So half of my family's divided. So I could care less about the Cowboys. I hope they never win another game ever. But that's just. I think that's how this. With video games, that's how it's become. It's not always been that way, but there's always been a rivalry. There's always been
red versus blue.
I really think that there could have been little things with these first parties that's flopped that could have made them a lot better. Like I understand that that concept. Well, the third party does the multiplayer, but it's like you weren't built off that frame. Like your foundation was built off of multiplayer. You literally threw the entire gaming industry into an online revolution. Like, and then why the time that you are down the most, you start throwing out not above average single player games, but average to a little above average. And it's little things like making Sunset Overdrive 4-player co-op throughout the whole story could have done.
Could have been huge. Could have been
little things by actually giving Recore a budget could have made huge relevant impact. Little things like buying Respawn to keep Titanfall on.
That should have never got loose. That should have never got loose. Yeah. I agree.
But instead, like you go by what the minority want and not the majority. Like you built your entire foundation off multiplayer games, and then you start throwing out like you can't do it like Sony unless you're going to throw out Sony quality single player games.
Right.
Which you're not. Like not even a little bit. PUBG's been the first game in a long time that they are starting to make good decisions again.
Preach.
Like look at Scalebound. Like, thank God that game didn't come out because that would have been a huge flop on the Xbox brand. Like, you have all like the 10 total people on Twitter like, oh my gosh, it's canceled. I wanted to buy it. You were never buying that total game.
People, yo, you still.
You never were going to buy that game. It would have literally come out.
It was a different type of title, though.
It would have came out. It would flopped, and then they would be saying they don't want to even invest. Even it's better for it to flop without the consumers making it flop.
Yes,
because if the consumers made it flop, investors would be like, "Yo, we keep putting out money, and they ain't buying nothing."
Yo, we gotta wrap up. We go on. One more topic. We're just gonna finish up with Lord King. Because I know what's going on today. You still want to touch the battle that's going on with the battle royals?
Yes,
let me say one thing real quick.
What's
All
up?
right, main foe or whatever your name is. Scalebound is a completely different on a Monster World is in a completely different world than Scalebound. Like that franchise has been developed for like how long? Like the past 10-15 years. You can't say just because Monster Hunter Worlds went that Scalebound was going to automatically do good because it wasn't. I can almost guarantee
it was different though. It was something that we
just was looking forward to a different game.
You don't try to make different stuff when you're not appealing to the majority.
But then again, we can't say that when we get mad when all they doing is Halo 4s and Gears all day.
But if every game you popping out's fire and you selling crazy amounts, then you could start to like, okay, the majority of our fans like this, we'll still give them stuff like this to keep them happy. Let's try to get everyone else.
That's the yin and the yang of stuff. When do you take a risk? Do you take a risk when you're falling, or do you take a risk when you're standing? Either way is a choice that you're going to have to make. And, as the captain of the ship, whoever was running the ship at that period of time, they decided that they wasn't going to take a risk on certain titles at this point in time. They have all the assets. They own everything. So when you own something, that means you use it at your disposal. Why use that bullet right now when it's not necessary in a losing cause? They lost.
Shout out to Santobo. He said, I presume everyone here has played Ashen and the last. Look, I'm all about diversity in the title. I don't want them to stop doing that. Yes, double down on your strength. Do you? You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, why can't we do both?
Exactly.
But you lose market share even more and more. Your investors become less.
I got you, Singer.
So it's harder to do diversifies when you keep trying to branch out to different genres and losing more and more money because you're not making the money back.
I understand your point, but I'm also with B Money on this in the chat. Where every success, there should be at least a risk. There should be one risk. If you eating on something, at least try. Because my thing is, regardless if that game wasn't all the way successful, that brought in a different type of gamer to your platform. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to look at. At the end of the day, it didn't. It's like we complaining when Horizon, whatever. But 7.6 people was like, "Yo, I'm feeling this." You know what I'm saying? Like that's not all of the Sony base.
It's like this. It's like this, guys. You got to realize, right? And in order to be successful, you have to have a large install base. Now, not everybody in your install base is going to buy that one type of game, right? You got to look at like the PlayStation. Yeah, they have 76, 78 million gamers, but they have a diverse. I mean, I got friends that only play Japanese RPGs. I got friends that still only play Madden and 2K every year. They don't own another game.
Another game but those two facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Now you're doing better this generation. I'm not gonna lie. That was him, boy.
From the big to the small, they offer. Look at a game like just look at their lineup of games, right? So, the story-driven games, just all these different games that you can, Gravity Rush, just all kind of different art style and type of games that they can have. And that is why people, even if they've never really gamed in the past and they come on there now, they say, "Hey, I'm into Nier Automata. That looks like a cool game. Let me do that one." And that's the platform that it offers. And so where if you're just into shooters and racers, this is why people say Xbox is for you for them, because they cater to that particular crowd. But I think it's okay for you to cater to that crowd, but you have to, in order to grow your install base, you have to reach out to the PlayStation fans and the Nintendo fans. You just can't stay in your little bubble and just
that's right. Don't be safe, man. You got to reach out at all times. You must, extend your reach. You cannot be secure in a little bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to this final topic. The fans have been waiting for Lord King on this one. The chat is lit. It's the hottest thing in the street right now. It's the Battle Royale battle. Lord King, what's going on with these PUBG and Fortnite streaks? What's going on?
I promised you that I'll bring you this topic, guys. It's come to my attention that Fortnite has decided to double down 4K 60 frames per second. Xbox One X enhanced title. They on the season 3. My question to the congregation, to the people standing to the round table, to the pulpit, and anybody listening across this nation,
church,
has the student surpassed the master? It was a period of time where PUBG looked like it was an unstoppable monster. Then this free game came out that stole all its light. Now, the free game is Fortnite. And, my whole contention has always been, if it wasn't free, nobody would be playing it. Maybe you get trickle here, trickle there. Is it 4 or 5 million? I don't think so. Now, every person that's playing PUBG paid for it. That is not true when you go to Fortnite. But did that model help them surpass PUBG? PUBG just released a 4K update and a stable frame rate and a lot of fixes to what was going on and the questions that was going on. Both of these games are in preview, but they both got in there, and it seems to be one has flourished using a different model. The other one has flourished using a different model, but which one has surpassed the other one at this point in time?
Let's go. This is the hottest subject in the street. Kratos, let's go.
Okay, so here's the thing. Fortnite was out before you had the PUBG mode, before you had the Battle Royale mode. Correct. The game itself, I bought it, and I thought it was a pretty okay game. But man, when they came out with that Battle Royale mode, that cranked it up a whole another notch. And
the completely different game.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, but let's make no mistakes about it, right? So both of these games run basically on the same engine, the Unreal Engine. But they're made by two different teams. One took a cartoony type art style, and the other one took a bland, drab type art style, which realize, right, this PUBG is based on a mode from, I think it was Arma 3 or something like that, or another game. So it's not even a game. It was just a mode. It's a mod. That's what it is. So it's not like they built it from scratch. But I do think that, I mean, PUBG obviously was the first one out the gate, so they got the install base. Fortnite is right behind it, but they got the install base because it's free, right? There's more people right now playing Fortnite than PUBG. Eventually, the hype was going to die down. But I've been playing PUBG on the PC since day one.
I'm looking at the top 3 games played on Xbox right now. Can you guys tell me the 3?
Monster Hunter, PUBG, and Fortnite.
Okay, you have 3. You have 2 of the 3.
Gears.
You have 2 of the 3. You'll never believe. And tell me, well, first off, who do you think is the most played game on Xbox?
It's got to be Fortnite because it's free.
It's Fortnite. Who do you think's the second?
PUBG.
No.
Wow.
Now PUBG's got to be like 4 because PUBG's still paid.
PUBG's 3.
Oh, PUBG's 3? That's impressive.
Wow. Who do you think the third? The number 2?
I don't know.
If
Call of Duty,
resurgence,
or Siege,
GTA Online,
right there, Siege.
Rainbow Six
Siege
is the greatest turnaround ever.
Yeah,
that's the craziest.
GTA is the one behind PUBG. Now, here's the craziest thing: the most played game is Fortnite. What do you think the most paid game is?
PUBG.
PUBG.
Yeah, PUBG facts.
So what do you think's more important? People playing it or the people that actually put money into the project that they're playing?
I mean, yeah, they're gonna eat off it, but the argument right now,
that's the yin and yang. That's the yin and yang.
Yin and yang. The argument right now is back to what Kratos was saying. Is like Fortnite versus PUBG. Like, this is what it is right now. Where we at with this? Where's the paddle, Kratos? You got to give me that final gun. You were just about to go into the whole PC. You playing on PUBG there? Where you at?
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Once the additional maps come over to the Xbox, then it's going to start back up again, right? Some of the hype has kind of died down. People are been playing it for a while, so they're kind of waning away. But you got to keep giving them consistent content for them to keep being engaged, and that's what Fortnite has kind of been doing. It's going to come with PUBG, but it's just taking a little bit longer. But you can't beat free, man. I mean, literally, you just can't beat free.
There's literally nothing you can do to beat free. Like, PUBG can try to, do their marketing as much as they want. The fact that Epic could say this game's free is the best marketing you could ever do.
Exactly. Definitely going so hard at each other with Fortnite versus PUBG. The chat, this is crazy. The chat is crazy right now.
But one thing I'll tell you this though, it's you got to realize, right? I think by default it's going to go to Fortnite because Fortnite doesn't have any of the issues that PUBG have. PUBG on the X runs like barely at a playable frame, especially if you're coming from the PC where you're playing 60 plus on it. It's really unplayable, but they've kind of patched it and it's workable now, so you can still enjoy it. But again, you can enjoy any game if you're playing with your friends, no matter how it runs.
Yeah.
But I think. Man, I'm gonna tip my hat over to Fortnite because they were able to. The game run beautiful. I mean, it runs beautiful.
Now, do you have an X? Did you have X? Did you see the mode though?
Yeah. I got the X.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Even I'm not a Fortnite guy, and I gotta admit.
Yes.
Did you download the new PUBG update that just came out on Thursday?
No matter what update they have.
Keep in mind now, I not only have PUBG on the X.
Yeah,
but I have it on the PC, so I've been playing the desert maps and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're elite player. I purposely kept my behind away from my PC downstairs.
Yeah,
you don't even know that level.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna do that.
Like I said, like me with Destiny.
No, it's what Kratos says. When I hop on and I put my headset on, and I hear that, you see it, blop 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 blop. The invites to this game.
Yeah,
nothing beats that.
Yeah.
Let's get it in. Solve. The king of battle royale. You are.
I know, right?
The master.
All
right. Let's get your feedback.
My voice has gotten progressively worse.
Because you heard battle royale, your voice like.
So I gotta say, I gotta give it to Fortnite because I mean, you can't beat free.
Free's undefeated.
PUBG is not on PlayStation yet, and that's big that it's not on PlayStation yet. And then you got to give it to, I mean, Epic. They have the engine, and the thing about the engine is that chances are you could never even dream about getting PUBG to run on a Switch. There's rumors about Fortnite on the Switch. Like, this is something like it would be. I'm not saying that it would increase the player base that much, but the fact that you have the game that can run on possibly all the major platforms at the moment is important. And and again, it being free on the Switch would be something that's doubly important. So I just think like they just have too many advantages. Like, they own the engine. They know how to maximize that engine. Yeah, is it shiesty? It's shiesty, but you know what?
I Fortnite is 50 Cent PUBG's Ja Rule. I'm dead.
I think the thing that makes us different than most, like, you got games that like are the free counterparts to the the retail popular mainstream game, is they're legitimately the same game, just one's more casual than the other.
Facts. He said PUBG runs on a phone in China. It can run on the Switch. JD, the Fortnite gang in the chat.
Question about that mobile PUBG. How close is it to actual PUBG? Like,
it looks really good. If you have, you gotta understand these phones that we have is $800, $900.
For real.
If you sit there and you make games proprietary towards those phones that actually have really good graphics cards inside of them.
Yeah.
If you actually make games for that, it's gonna look good. It looks really good. I just want to say one thing to the Fortnite flag bearers. Anytime I can jump on a rocket and snipe you in the mouth from down the block, I'm not about that game. All right. So if you like riding rockets, that's you. Ride all the rockets you like.
I will say one thing: like the last 25 alive in PUBG and the last 25 alive on Fortnite is two entirely different
experiences. Absolutely.
Like when you get to like the last 25, it's like, where's the fortress? That's where the rest of
you're building a house. You close to Minecraft.
At first I didn't realize it, but that does make the two games significantly
different. See, I'm gonna jump in real quick. And obviously, I'm biased towards PUBG, but I have to admit what Sav is saying is true. Free is free. At the end of the day, free is undefeated. So to me, it's just amazing that PUBG is still able to keep up. And let's be real, we know the history. Right, with Epic and
you mean how they just pretty much stole their game?
They sat there and they stealing people's rhyme book. They go spit a freestyle with a Neptune beat.
They pretty much went to someone else and like, we're going to take your whole house, but put the front porch to the left of the house and not the right, so it's different.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it is what it is, and I don't want to disrespect in the sense that look, Fortnite, the engine is tremendous. You know what I'm saying? I think the ultimate difference is what style of game you like, right? If you like that grit, that military feel, a little bit more realistic vehicles, you're gonna go with PUBG. If you like just more of a fun, graphically running, smooth game,
rocket riding, you want to ride a rocket.
But I will say that as much as I don't necessarily like that cartoony, thing on that, I will say like this is what shout out to Sinners in the chat. Lord Sinners Fortnite all day. But what I was gonna say, what I do like that, what I do like that PUBG needs to get from Fortnite is I love Fortnite's end game. They always got like suits and all these different things and cool stuff you can get. And it's like when I play PUBG, I'm like, all I got is this dirty mock net shirt and pair of shoes. I'm like, I need something else with the obviously it has to be cosmetic because you don't want, like King said, you don't want to change up game balance. But they need to adopt and steal back what Fortnite's doing right now because I think that's cool. Like I saw somebody with like
space outfit. Yeah, it's crazy. I saw somebody in a astronaut suit. But it is par for the course when you ride in rockets. You should be wearing an astronaut suit. Rocket riding.
So ultimately, I'm still gonna rock with PUBG, but I cannot deny.
Free is good. Free
is undefeated. So that's what I got on this topic. Everyone else made their choices as far as we know what King's going with. You finish
I'm just gonna have to go both of them, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I like Fortnite and I like PUBG. Like they have different. Like if I don't have like a whole squad of 4, I feel like Fortnite's more comfortable playing. But if like you have a whole, I mean, they're both good play with people. But one of the biggest issues I have with Fortnite is you can't prone. Like that really annoys me.
And you know what I got a problem with? I'm gonna keep it real, Fortnite guys. This is what y'all gotta help me. I just hate when I watch the Fortnite match.
PUBG is God of War and Fortnite is Sea of Thieves.
Hit those like buttons, guys. Hit those likes, please.
Hit the likes, y'all. I really appreciate it. The thing I don't like is I seen like the last 5 getting into a shootout and building houses on the fly to block shots. Like I was like, it took me out of it, y'all. I'm like, come on, where they do this at? Where I could build an Empire State Building in the middle of a battle with that's protected.
I wish I was getting sniped and I could build a house in PUBG. Can't.
TF God gotta stop. He said Fortnite is Drake and PUBG's Meek Mill. Y'all gotta stop.
Back to back.
Oh man.
I want to see your receipts for that paid for Fortnite though. You're doing a lot of freewheeling and dealing with your mouth. Put your money where your mouth is. Let me see the receipts.
And I like how Sin put at the top. Fortnite is the most paid thing on Xbox. How is the most paid thing on Xbox Fortnite free? Like that literally makes no sense.
Shut up.
Like not even a little bit.
He out here riding rockets. He getting dizzy.
And on that note, Fortnite PUBG Wars, I assume, will always continue. We're gonna wrap this thing up. We got a new ILP poll this week, and it's going to be with the 1-year anniversary of the Switch now upon us. What do you feel is the most important thing for its continued success in year 2? The choices are A, proper online voice chat, messaging, and achievements. B, virtual console for classic Nintendo titles. C, huge IPs like Smash Bros, Pokemon, Metroid. Or D, I don't care, Nintendo Labo FTW.
Oh God!
Those are
Everyone let that win. Let that win.
Let that Labo win.
Give me the enjoyment next week because I'll be off work. Give me that enjoyment. I need that in my life.
That is the question. Those are the choices. Please rock the vote. The ILP Twitter will be up tomorrow. Lord Kratos, an absolute pleasure coming through. They thought it was going to be violence. You coming in here.
Exactly.
No, they tried to set up the BS, but those are hollow men doing that. Men of no substance.
Absolute pleasure at having you at the round table. Where can the fine people find you, sir?
You guys can find me on Twitter at JDubCity16. I'm always keeping you guys laughing with the memes and the with the gifs and the memes. So,
some of you may crying.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolute pleasure. You know you are welcome back in the realm of the Lords anytime. Absolute pleasure. And we finally dispelled the rumors that they are not one person. Those are two separate entities just repping their side, all in fun, all in comedy. Love what you're doing out there. You two are absolutely like, it's like literally listening to the other person. It's funny. No. Lord Addict, where can the fine people find you, sir?
You can find me next week on ILP. I don't know. You can find me on Twitter, ILP. You can find me on YouTube, Gaming Addict.
Any challenging games coming up? The challenging game Conqueror? Anything streaming?
Stupid Tomb Raider.
Like,
don't get me wrong. Like, it's a cool game and all, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, okay. Like, I don't like the point A to point B games. Like, this is a little open world a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, you know, people in my chat all day, the entire time I'm doing it. When are you going to play Uncharted? Like, no, it's not happening. Like,
you're not doing it. No doubt. We looking forward to those streams. Love your streams, man. And your Bloodborne one did very well. I saw a lot of community support for you on that, so that's good to see. The challenging game Conqueror, Lord Sovereign with the squeaky bad voice, but still survived all the rambling of the Lords. Where can people find you?
Yeah, shout out to Kratos first for coming through, man. Appreciate it. As I've always said, appreciate the old gamers coming through.
The OGs.
The OGs. Yeah. And you can find me on PSN, Xbox Live at BX Sovereign and Lord Sob ILP. And I apologize for sounding like somebody strangling me.
No, we appreciate you sticking out. We know you're not feeling well, bro. We definitely appreciate it. Lord King, the exquisite, the secret touch extinguisher. It was fierce out here. We had to fight off the onslaught from Lord Kratos. It was a fair battle, but it was a lot of respect on both sides. So where can people find you?
First and foremost, I would like to say thank you, Kratos, for coming through. And the respect that I have for you, hearing your gaming history, stand-up dude, and your perspective on your gaming system of choice is fair and honest. You don't it's not biased. So I can respect that all the way through. And I had such a great time today because if you can look at the time frame, we have been going on for 3 hours. And it was action-packed, and we kept the people enthused and interacting all the way through.
Shout out
and I want to give
today. Oh my God,
shout out to the chat. You rolled with us from beginning to end. I would like to say shout out to Delilah HD. When I'm riffing off the top and I'm making jokes, I do apologize if some of them come off as crash and chauvinistic. That's King After Dark when we playing PUBG. A lot of those jokes slipped into here today because when you tug at Superman's cape, you got to be afraid of what he's gonna do when he turns around. All right. So
shout out to Anchorman for instigating all.
Shout out to Hollow Man. Stop calling him Anchorman. His name is not Anchorman. You know what? It's kind of true. His name is Anchorman because all he does is report stuff. Let's keep that in perspective. So if anybody was caught in the wake of Superman turning around and the gust of wind was knocking people down, I do apologize. But you can find me on Xbox, King David OTW. Add me. We play. We really get it in. On PlayStation, Xbox 360 Lover 01. That's a real tag. That's me. I will pop up. It'll be a little monkey emoji because I love monkeys. On Switch, you'll never get my social security number, so I'm not giving it out.
Maybe one day. And
on Twitter, if you want some of the funniest content, you can catch me on Twitter ripping a new one and somebody who accidentally pokes the bear.
No doubt. We see the Twitter means y'all both are out of control. I can't keep with y'all. No doubt, Lord Cognito here. The gaming realness was spread. Told you not what you wanted to hear, but what you needed to hear. Thanks again, Lord Kratos, for coming through, dealing with us 2-3 hours of foolishness. We went extra long today, but I appreciate you sticking it out. But yeah, man, I want you to shout out to the chat, everybody that was in there. It was real lit today. Also, thanks for the support on the ILP channel for Flashpoint. Number 6 with Ebontis went up. I want to shout out two lords specifically that always show us a lot of support. Chief Tommy, Chris Cobra Elite. It really means a lot. Definitely a lot of love for doing it. It's a little passion project at this point because we all know Destiny's dead, but we're trying to keep the flag alive.
Wait a second, don't end the podcast yet.
No, I'm not ending. I got some announcements too, and I'll let you rock. But no, you rock first, and I got an announcement.
Yeah, Vogel. PUBG time, baby.
Cool. No doubt, Vogel. We see you. We got the PUBG.
Vogel know. He know what's about to happen.
So also I want to say, yeah, like I said, thanks. Shout out to everybody, with the support and stuff like that. Make sure you guys support the Inner Circle Network. The Multiverse is they're beefing with us. They will be live tomorrow. Please go support them brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. We'll get this whole thing straightened out. Ain't nobody ducking no fades over here. So
please, how you gonna call a fight and don't say a new name? Shut up.
Like they gotta chill. But I also want to say a big announcement, and the Lords are officially going to PAX East as media. Nice. So we want to thank everyone at the Inner Circle Network, Lord Cal, Lord Anchorman, Lord Sam Tober, all the fans that actually were supporting our articles and this podcast. It really means a lot. This is our first time as media. We're going to be going out in Boston. Please hang out and support the Lords if you are in Boston and PAX East 2018. We're going to have some things cooking up for you there. It's going to be fun.
Something nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely want to salute. Lord Addict, I'm going to let you wrap this thing up.
All right. There you guys go.
That's your wrap up?
That's it?
No, I put a code for PUBG in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. There you go. Get that code for that PUBG.
For the Fortnite,
get it.
Free.
Get it for the free Fortnite, dude, so you can understand riding rockets is bad for your health.
Rico, shout out to Lord Addict for that, man. Much appreciated on the code and stuff like that. Kratos and everybody. Everybody have a good Sunday, and the realm is going to be lit. We got a very special guest next week. Don't want to spoil it just yet. Don't want to jinx it. Make sure you guys stay tuned. And on that note, enjoy your Sunday, and we out.
Peace.